One of the reasons why I talk against so-called equal education is the fact that education is the result, to a great extent, of what the student brings to the educational process. That it is the result of the intentionality of the student. That it is intentionality that makes the difference in what you get from education. So-called equal education is the fact that education is the result, to a great extent, of what the student brings to the educational process. That it is the result of the intentionality of the student. That it is intentionality that makes the difference in what you get from education, not what is stated in the classroom. You see, so that a black student and a white student sitting in the same classroom, one intending to rule the world and master the world and control the world, gets a very different bit of information, a very different orientation from the same information that is given to the black student. The idea that your children are getting the same education as a white child, when their motivations are different, their values are different, where they want to go and what they want to do with the knowledge of difference is a fallacy. You can't have equal education with people who have different intentionalities. You see, it's the intentionality. Whether you intend to be a slave, whether you intend to be a servant, a second banana, subordinated, whether your highest goal is to work for a white man or work for yourself, those things have effects on your memory, they have effect on your perception, on your understanding what you're reading, and upon how you apply what you read and know. And therefore, being in the same classroom, hearing the same thing, even getting the same A's is not getting you the same education. There is more to education than the handing out of information. It's memorization and regurgitation. The student makes the difference in what happens to education. And that student coming from a culture makes that difference as well, you see. And so we have to look at that. So then it is not so much that the white man writes it. It's not that as much as what you intend to do with it, you see. And you'll be surprised when you come in with that Afrocentric intention, and you come in with the intention to be liberated, when you come in as a man and mean not to be bossed by any other doggone man on this earth, you're going to get a whole different set of information out of the material. I'm telling you. You see? But if you want to depend on being liked and accepted and all of that, you're going to be, you're going to be even shy to talk about it. I don't want to talk about them people. They don't wear clothes. Some other kind of nonsense. Oh man, these people have sophisticated philosophies and they can represent many solutions. So then, what are we talking about? Regardless of the normalities and distinctions made, society is still distinguished between male and female, man and woman, no matter how you play it. Despite all the unisexism and feminism and so forth, a woman marries a man, and a woman wants a man. You're not running out here, women, looking for a unisex, are you? You're looking for a man, and a man looks for a woman. And no matter how you play it, and no matter how it works, and this is not to degrade female equality and so forth, but there is still a distinction between these two, people, these two groups here, male and female. And we have to deal with that, and it's going to be with us for quite some time yet. And societies, all of them have figured out some way of what is appropriate behavior to these two people of the species, no matter how you play it. You can cover it up any way you feel like it. but it's still there. And so manhood is something that is different from anatomy. And this is the thing you have to keep in mind about manhood. Manhood is a concept that must constantly be defined and restructured. You see, there must be a constant dialectic between men and women as to what a man is and as to what a woman is. It's key because you recognize the definition of what it means to be a man and a woman is the key to the adaptation and survival of people, of a people. It's not merely related to how you deal with each other in your own private home. It's related to the very survival of the race. And one thing.
What is good, my people? We are live back again with another live broadcast on the forecast. Shouts out to Considra in the building. What's going on, Considra? That's on purpose. They are not given equal. Yeah, facts. Shouts out to Raw in the building. And we see we came a long way because now we don't know what a woman is or what a man is apparently today. But anyway, now I'm not gonna lie. I had came on here. I was gonna do something, else. I was like, cause I haven't even did it for a while. I was gonna be like, um, if you do disagree with me, you know what I'm saying? Cause I know people be wanting to whatever, and I want people to prove me wrong. You know what I'm saying? That's my thing. Like, it's not like that. I go into it hoping I'm right. I just be like, yo, I hope that you prove me wrong. It's just unfortunately it don't look that way. But I was just going, say other stuff that I, disagree with people on. But, I was just gonna add some stuff just in case nobody came on. But me, I go in too deep into the rabbit hole and then I go too far and show too much stuff. So I guess I'll just do that. But if you want to, if you have like the stuff that I'll be saying, right? Like if you disagree with the things that I'll be saying, and I wasn't going to be I won't be as like I would have been. I guess I like calm down, I guess. I don't know. But instead of doing that though, right? I'm gonna try to do something more positive because and by the way, tomorrow, me and Considra gonna come on here. We're gonna start doing talking about business and doing business and different things that we could do that just to have because we need to talk about something positive, and I think that we need something that younger people can like look at and like learn like, oh, I can get it by doing that, or I can get this by doing this. And to also inspire and encourage young people to do that. So we're gonna try to start doing like some business stuff on the regular, what I'm saying? Like hopefully we could pick a day, but life be happening. So, it is what it is. I can't even tell y'all when I can come on. But, you know, I wanted to try to do better, y'all. So I want to show you some other stuff. But like I said, if you still want to disagree, you can definitely do that. And what's crazy is because you get more from, but that's another thing. But first, I want to show you this. And by the way, Raw, I'm glad you're in the building because I always gotta, I always play it every time. What I'm saying they that a reference is thrown into it about them. So I just had to play this for real quick. Raw.
So good at the strategy of oppression on many climates. It's not even like, well, we was good at this in Africa, but we don't know how to do it in Mexico. The consistency and the efficacy of their oppressive manners is so prevalent that I find myself ever so often being like, this got to be supernatural. Are they the aliens? Because they're the only life on Earth that doesn't that the sun doesn't help. Is it cultural?
It's some historic.
Now we're not anti-racist over here, but that's a question you can ask yourself: are they the aliens? I don't know. Yo, and by the way, consider, and I'm gonna show this. I guess, I'm showing this to give people time too. But consider, I don't want to. I want to show consider too, but You know, I don't want to keep showing this every time that something happened with this. You know what I'm saying? But so I just want to play it real quick. You know, um, I don't know if you saw this, Cassandra, with that OnlyFans girl with the joint. Now they done locked the parents up because they tried to help the white girl. You know what I'm saying? Cover up what she done did.
Charged with murdering her boyfriend at their Miami apartment are now facing charges.
Courtney Clenny's parents were arrested in Texas in connection with the case. Let's get to Local 10 News reporter Annalise Garcia live in Miami.
She tells us what the parents are accused of doing that led to their arrest. Annalise.
Hey, Gio, Janice. So now Clenny and both her parents, her mother and her father, are each facing a third-degree felony. That's an additional charge for Clenny now. So this all started when those two parents went to Clenny's apartment and began to clean her things out. They found Obumzeli's laptop that had been left behind, and according to police, it should have been turned over as evidence, but it wasn't. New arrests made involving the case of OnlyFans model Courtney Clenny. Her parents taken into custody.
And this is a model, y'all. This is Greek culture, I guess. Well, I don't know. Her face is pretty tough to be a model. I don't know what models be these days.
Taken into custody in Austin, Texas. 57-year-old Deborah Clenny and 60-year-old Kim Clenny were arrested just after 2:30 Tuesday, held on an out-of-state felony warrant.
If it came to it, you would lie for her.
No, I would not. I resent that accusation.
According to police sources, Clenny's parents attempted to conceal evidence as they cleaned out her Edgewater high-rise apartment. Kim Clenny allegedly found his daughter's boyfriend's laptop in that apartment, which had not been taken by police, and even attempted to access it. The arrest warrant.
So they took the young brother's laptop and I don't know what they were trying to do with it, but of course they were trying to cover it up, you know. Like, we understand, honey, that N-word was being the N-word. If only it was like 42 years ago, we could have gotten away with this.
Attempted to access it. The arrest warrant describes how there was a conversation between Courtney's attorneys and her parents about getting the password to the laptop. Attorneys sent possibilities for a password, and Clenny's parents ultimately accessed the laptop. They then turned it over to the attorneys. Now all three, Courtney and her mother and father, are facing charges because
what they say is like they beget each other. You know what I'm saying? The other dude, he be trolling them, but he was like a lineage of evil. But I would just say, you know, it's just the nature of some people, just the nature of some, you know, as the first chick put it, you know what I'm saying? Are they the aliens? You know.
Then turned it over to the attorneys. Now all three, Courtney and her mother and father, are facing charges because they accessed the laptop without authorization. Courtney Clenny's attorney releasing a statement reading, quote, "We're extremely surprised and very concerned about this arrest of the Clenny family. This could be an example of prosecutorial overreach and misconduct." Courtney Clenny is accused of killing Christian Obumzeli during an argument in April of 2022.
No, that's not true. That's not real, right? That is real. Christian is dead.
Clenny's attorneys say she acted in self-defense. Obumzeli's family claims it was domestic abuse that
I wonder, like, I haven't seen like any tears yet. Like, they be like squinting their eyes real hard, and they be trying to act, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, I wonder how many, like, you know, they always be like, oh yeah, white girl cry, and then there's whatever. Like, I wonder how many times you can actually get a tear. Like, that's probably why it's like, it should be worth gold, you know what I'm saying? Like, if we was thinking the right mindset, a white girl tear would be worth an ounce of gold, you know what I'm saying? But anyway.
Self-defense. Obumzeli's family claims it was domestic abuse that ultimately ended with her fatally stabbing him during an outburst. And the Obumzeli family attorney did respond to one of my Local 10 colleagues, saying that he's very happy that.
All right, so you know, y'all seen that, right? Now, I want to show you this, right? Now. I ain't gonna click on none of these sites because it'll freeze it up. And if it do freeze up eventually, y'all bear with me, you know. But I don't know if y'all seen this, but the governor of New York announced that they're going to give the Holocaust descendants of Holocaust like more money. You know what I'm saying? Obama had one over there and was like, "Oh yeah, it was the worst atrocity ever, and with this we donate such and such to Israel." You know what I'm saying? Now this chick here said, whatever, like Kathy, Governor Kathy of New York is going to give the Holocaust children. I don't want to play the sister video, but and you know, I don't, it's just like any other, but I'll play it because they don't really talk about it. So I'll play this one.
Seconds, so I don't have to do two parts. Somehow, the governor of New York found $183 million to give to the victims and beneficiaries of Holocaust victims. This is your reminder that the Holocaust did not occur on American soil. However, they found $183 million to give to the victims and the beneficiaries. Walk with me through history for a moment. On Juneteenth of 2019, the House Judiciary Committee held a hearing on slavery and reparations. See that man right there? That is Mike Johnson from Louisiana. He was a House Congress representative. Do you know he is now the seated Speaker of the House?
Do you think I want my damn money? Like, and that's why I'd be like, yo, we ally. Yeah, like if the shysters, before they could say anything to me, you know what I'm saying? Like, first come breaking off that reparations money, not just my tax money part. You give me my tax money back, you know what I'm saying? But no, then break off some of that break off that reparations money that you getting, and then you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'll still win, but you know what I'm saying? Like, but before they can even like look in my direction to say anything, you know what I'm saying? To give them any kind of energy, you know what I'm saying? They would have to do that first. But anyway.
You know he is now the seated Speaker of
By the way,
the House.
Wasn't the they need to be forget about history. Wasn't the Holocaust like 80 years ago? Like, or however many years ago? Like, how long are we gonna be living in the past? You know what I'm saying?
Who holds the power of the purse in this country. This man.
Yeah, what up, my brother Anthony?
Fought tooth and nail against the case for reparations in 2019. It is on video. The hearing is 3 hours and 19 minutes long. Watch it. Because he and people like Candace Owens.
Yeah, all of the Holocaust. And by the way, you know what I'm saying? Let's not look over the fact that some of the Jewish people put other Jewish people in ovens. You know what I'm saying? Like let's skip over the fact that some of the Jewish people was like selling each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, or burning and killing each other. You know what I'm saying? It was like, and not only white on white crime, but whatever they claim they are on whatever they claim they are crime. You know what I'm saying? But that was like 90 years ago. I mean, like you're like there nobody's alive from back then, right? You know, it's crazy. You know, they didn't go through that. You know what I'm saying? They were peaceful. You know what I'm saying? So
we're fighting tooth and nail to say that Black people do not deserve reparations.
And this is why when you get down in my comment section and say to me, ignore because she will.
All right. So, you know, you see that. You know, I wish I could have played something else, but they ain't talking about it. Let me see. Yeah, they get money every year. Yeah, your tax money. Exactly. But when Black people ask for reparation, they say nobody is alive. Yeah, nobody from that is alive, you know. Yeah. The Holocaust was giant. It was white on white crime, you know what I'm saying? It was definitely white on white crime, you know what I'm saying? Germany paid reparations, you know, and so did Obama did go over there and be like, it was the worst crime, and I'm gonna send some money too. The Nazis, yeah, you know, I know like many people know like how the Nazis like forget that how they studied the playbook, and then the first concentration camps, or what they would say the first genocide of the 1900s or the 20th century or whatever they call it, you know what they did there, you know what I'm saying? and then learning how to do what they did from like, let's forget all of that. After that, most of them did come to America, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, became like their scientists and all that kind of stuff. Like, was all of that stuff is accurate, you know what I'm saying? When they start getting the nuclear bombs and stuff like that. Yeah, they're all the same. Yeah. You know, so yeah, that they definitely integrated into quote unquote American society. You know what I'm saying? That is definitely true. But that's not even the first time. Like last year, you know what I'm saying? So this is what she did last year for them, you know.
Honor of Holocaust Remembrance Day, Governor Hochul announced $2.6 million that will be dedicated to supporting Holocaust survivors. She met with a number of New Yorkers.
This was last year, so it was like 2.6 survivors and support for whatever that means. And you see they got the small hats on here. They have, I can't see the hook noses, but you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure they all have those. And it seems pretty shiesty if you ask me.
Dedicated to supporting Holocaust survivors. She met with a number of New Yorkers in Borough Park who miraculously survived the Holocaust, each of them sharing their stories of courage and survival, but also their promise.
Yeah, you see that? You see that? There's like two hook noses right there. That's not even a slur, you know what I'm saying? It's a description of one's physiological, you know, one's person, you know.
Survival, but also their promise
they are.
to never forget. Governor Hochul says she's committed to supporting survivors by having resources and funding available through 29 different organizations.
29.
And I'm here today to announce $2.6 million in funding for the Holocaust Survivors Initiative. So you don't have to go wanting in the organizations of people that are so compassionate and dedicated to doing what we do right here. We'll have the resource to make your lives even more enriched.
Even more. Like you're already enriched. So we're going to take this money here to make you even more enriched. Like she did a gesture on that to say like, you're going to be stupid rich, you know what I'm saying? Or however we would do it.
Lives even more enriched and to give you whatever service you need, but just to have opportunities in a safe, loving environment.
Governor Hochul also emphasized her dedication to protect communities that are most at risk to anti-Semitic and hate crimes, using $25 million.
Damn hate crime bill?
And hate crimes.
I know y'all want that
$25 million in funding.
I'm not going to, because like I said, if you disagree, I disagree with you saying what a lot of people saying, yeah, we need a hate crime bill. Yeah, there's only one hate crime bill that's going to work. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you that right now. But not only that, you know what I'm saying? Not only that, you know, that's hella tax money right there. That was from last year. So this year they get 183 million, you know what I'm saying? So they, you know, got one up from 2.6 million to 100, and I guess to help them rebuild that hole they had, you know what I'm saying? So they had to get that money there. I got you. Reparations for them taking their hold from them, I guess. But like I said, man, that was a long time ago. At some point, you got to pull yourselves up by your. No, well, first of all, they got everybody else bootstrapped, so I can't say that to them. But it was a long time ago. It's time to like it was like Jewish people did it to each other too. They was involved. Like, what about them? Are we going to do? Should they be paying reparations to them? The Jews that participated and was in the German army, should they be paying reparations? Like, this is just, it's just crazy. Yeah, every damn year. I don't know. She might be a shyster. I don't know. They be shy. Y'all know better than me. I can only tell by the small hats and the hook noses, like this guy over here. And I'm just recent at that. But not only that, right? So let's talk about something else, okay? Now, speaking of New York, right? I don't know if y'all seen this, right? But New York City is offering migrant families money to get like food and baby supplies. Like that's also where your tax money is going. And they, although they make it like the Mexicans and stuff like that, the West Arabs, you know what I'm saying, they're not the only immigrants. It's also like the Ukrainians that they sending all that money to, and they're quote unquote refugees, you know what I'm saying, because they call the white ones refugees or whatever is the right term for it. But they're going to get it, so they're not going to highlight them, you know what I'm saying. But they're coming in and they get like whole neighborhoods for themselves, you know what I'm saying, like neighborhoods, and all kind of jobs and opportunities. But you know what I'm saying, that's what you can't expect anything different. But they're going to also use them, like, because they look, that's another thing I like. People disagree with the mulattoes, you know what I'm saying, because they have dual alliances, you know what I'm saying, and a lot of them are white identified. That's why you know what I'm saying, you look at the TV or the people in the government or the census, you know what I'm saying. Oh yeah, I forgot they added black people to the census in Mexico now. So, but it's not just them; it's all of them. You know what I'm saying. You know how you're paying for it. If they're taking your tax money, you are contributing to that.
Well, questions being raised tonight about a new pilot program that'll give migrant families a reloadable prepaid credit card to buy food and baby supplies.
All right, it would replace the food boxes given to asylum seekers staying in hotels. Fox 5.
Like people, how many people is like, how much food costs right now? You know what I'm saying? Do you know how much food like costs in the first place? It's crazy.
Jessica Formoso has more on how it would all work.
Some migrant families will soon be given prepaid credit cards to buy food and baby supplies. The mayor's office says the city is partnering with Mobility Capital Finance to launch a more cost-effective program. Right now, the city has contracts with food services who provide...
Oh yeah, we're spending so much money. We need a more effective way to feed these fools. Okay.
Right now, the city has contracts with food services who provide non-perishable food boxes to shelters. They will start with 500 migrant families with children in short-term hotel stays. The cards can only be used at bodegas, grocery stores, supermarkets, and convenience stores.
We're just giving this migrant population more free stuff at the expense of New York City taxpayers.
In a statement, the mayor's office says, in part, quote, not only will this provide families with the ability...
Now, look, if they want to give them that, you know what I'm saying, that's on them. But, like, yo, don't use my money to do that with, like, we hungry as hell out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know, like, food. I see how much the food costs. I need a damn, you know what I'm saying, a prepaid card. You know what I'm saying? Do you, like... I don't even know about all of that. I need one, you know what I'm saying? And so I would rather my tax money, and like, hell, I was, before I was like, yo, for the police, they'd be like, oh yeah, you can't be mad about police. What about black on black? Well, if that's the case, I would rather my tax money go to the black people, you know what I'm saying, than the police, you know what I'm saying? That's for me. Hell, give me my tax money and then I will pay them to secure my neighborhood. How about that? You know what I'm saying? I'll make sure they ain't got to do all the stuff that they do to eat, you know what I'm saying? But I see how hard it is out here, you know what I'm saying? But they can do what they want to do. It's just the problem comes in is like when they're taking like your tax money, like, tell me why is like black people still like paying taxes to them anyway? Like, if any kind of reparation, that's like number one on it. Like, believe me, they are going to pay what they owe. They are going to pay what they owe. Believe that. You know what I'm saying? But even when you talk about it, you know what I'm saying? Like, the first and foremost, like, you shouldn't be paying taxes to this place. You know what I'm saying? All the other stuff, if you want to sign up for it, then go sign up for it, you know. But other than that, no.
Ability to purchase fresh food of their culturally relevant diets and the baby supplies of their choosing.
I don't know if it's just Chicago. I don't know if they still giving them that, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Because there's a lot of money giving them like hotels and jackets and hosting job fairs and giving them food and, you know what I'm saying, all that.
But the pilot program is expected to save New York City more than $600,000 per month, or more than $7.2 million annually.
I'm not going to be thankful that a program that was bloated and ineffective.
$3 million. The amount loaded on the card will depend on the city
themselves.
According to the New York Post, this pilot program will cost the city $53 million. The amount loaded on the card will depend on the family size.
They're deflecting attention away from their incompetency, and they're not holding.
Said Power Malu. He's an activist for the Brown.
And they're not holding accountable the people that had prior contracts.
Paramalu is with artists, athletes, and activists. He says the Adams administration is setting up the migrants for failure.
Purchasing food at the supermarket is not cheap anymore. And on top
he said it's not enough because it costs too much. You setting us up for failure. He was like, this ain't enough. Like, look how much eggs cost. You better give me like more than what you're giving me. This is BS. That's what he's saying.
Food at the supermarket is not cheap anymore. And on top of that, they don't have kitchens. So how are they going to purchase the food that they want?
The families who get these credit.
Well, I guess the next thing is for them to kick in your door and be like, yeah, you be able to use your kitchen. I mean, they might as well. Anyway. Yeah, even this dude 50 Cent was like, yo, this is getting crazy. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
families. Potential shift in his political stance, suggesting that this policy might sway him towards supporting former president distributing the initiative will initially target 500 migrant families residing.
It'll just be Ukrainians. It'll be them anyway, but
which are restricted for hotel accommodations, replacing the current food services with these cards, which are restricted for use at designated establishments, such as bodegas. The funds solely for food and baby supplies, with the consequence of expulsion from the program if violated. The allocated amount varies based on family size and existing income, potentially providing $1,000 monthly for a family of 4, with card refills scheduled every 28 days.
So they get it every 28 days. They get it every 28 days. All right. Now, also they had just gave them this like last week, you know what I'm saying, 77 million for emergency hotel
you can stay here as long as you want, with taxpayers going to pay for your food, your clothing, your lifestyle for as long as you want. That is just not economically realistic, and it's unfair to taxpayers, it's unfair to migrants and asylum seekers. And so our humane policy that is, we're telling single adults 30 days, children and families 60 days.
And the problem is though, like, you would look at him like whatever, but a lot of black people is quote unquote humane. Like, oh yeah, well, we can't just, they got their babies in cages. Oh, you know what I'm saying? They're Arab babies, you know what I'm saying? Oh, and I don't mean to sound this way. I'm just telling you what the truth is. You know what I'm saying? We sound just like this if you don't feel this way. And I know that that's to y'all that would be taking it too far, but it's really not, because I could have just said it, you know what I'm saying? And I'm only being PG for y'all and not for anything else. But the truth is, you know what I'm saying? The truth is the truth. You understand?
And we are not going to allow any child or family to sleep on the street. I said that over and over again.
Yeah. And they're definitely letting a whole lot of families sleep on the street. Now, peep this, you know. So this is young brothers in NYC.
He said, we don't let nobody shelter for migrants on Randall's Island.
And his critics are the men who live in a homeless shelter just yards away from this new facility. CBS 2 political reporter Marcia Kramer is here now with what some are calling a tale of two shelters. Marcia?
Well, Dana and Dick, if you're forced to live in a 65-year-old former psychiatric hospital that's been turned into a men's shelter, you can't help being jealous of the soft landing the city is providing for migrant men newly arrived from South America.
Now, real quick, guess which people is being left outside in the cold, with babies and hungry, who's the first group of people that you think you're gonna see out there?
Especially if you have a bird's eye view of the new
I
facility.
don't even know if y'all still listening.
We get treated better. They get treated better than us. That's not fair.
They treat you wrong like you're lower than nothing.
Gabriel de la Cruz and Lee Brown live in a men's homeless shelter that is about 350 yards as the crow flies from the new tent city for migrants opened by the city this week. But in terms of treatment and quality of life, the centers are poles apart. The pictures tell the tale. Men at the migrant center, who are only supposed to be here for 4 days, have a recreation room with multiple TVs, plush couches, telephones for calling home, Xboxes, foosball tables, and games. The recreation room at the homeless shelter, where men stay indefinitely, has a single TV and uncomfortable molded plastic chairs. That's it. The migrants have a cafeteria with condiments on the table, a rotating menu of South American specialties, even bottled water and soft drinks in coolers. There are no condiments on the tables at the shelter. Water comes from a red and yellow jug, and the meals, overcooked mac and cheese, appear.
I'm a diabetic.
It's not, the food is garbage, man. Forget about it. The food is just garbage, man. It's not cooked well.
Lee Brown says the elevators are always broken.
I'm a diabetic. Right now, I got to walk up 6 flights of stairs. I mean, 7 flights of stairs.
Both men say Mayor Adams should even the playing field.
He should make it even. We've been here for the longest, and we've been treated the worst.
I put the question to the mayor.
This is not about comparing.
I got an idea, right? Why don't like what if like they just be like, yo, every community just whatever for themselves, you know what I'm saying? Let the quote unquote Mexican Americans, as a lot of us would say, so-called Mexican Americans, hold down their people, or like the Ukrainian quote unquote Americans hold down their people. You know what I'm saying? Like, why don't we just let it go that way and give me my money so I can do what I want to do with mine? But there's only one way you'll get your money, but I'm just saying.
Caring those who need assistance and care from the city. We're not doing that. There's always going to be reasons that people are going to feel as though someone else is getting something better than them. My job is to make sure everyone gets a place to sleep that's safe, 3 meals a day, and the support that they need so they can cycle out of being in the shelter.
All right, y'all get the point. All right. So let me show you this. I did leave something out, but I can't remember what it was, and it's not important right now. So it's not just like New York now. All right, oh my bad.
To move in.
Now this is in Roxbury, you know what I'm saying? Now they are taking the recreation center from the Black community to give to them, and this is up in Boston, you know what I'm saying?
More families are expected to move into the Melnia Cass Recreational Center in Roxbury. Now, the facility was converted into a shelter.
Hardcore, that's where your money is going, my brother. So you might as well open up why don't you open up a room? They asked y'all to do that too up there. They said, why don't y'all open up a room to house one of them? So I don't know if you want to do that too.
Now, the facility was converted into a shelter in part to stop people sleeping at Logan Airport. But as WBZ's Katrina Kincaid tells us, people in the community who rely on that center don't have answers yet about what happens to them.
75 people moved into the Melnia Cass Recreational Center, turned into an emergency shelter yesterday. They're expecting around 75 more people to move in today. But the issue that's still unsolved here are where are all the programs that are being pushed out because of this emergency shelter going to go?
I've been going here for like 2 years now, and it's been like a second home to me.
His second home is now filled with cots, strollers, and play spaces. There's room for up to 400 migrants and unhoused people. The goal is to get them off the street and out of Logan Airport while processing their work visas and finding more permanent places for them.
None of us should stand by while women, children,
and families sleep outside or in an airport who look like us.
The governor.
Now, I don't know what she looked like, but pretend like it's somebody that looked like you making this statement.
Sleep outside or in an airport who look like us.
The governor says the state
should stand
and finding more permanent places for them.
None of us should stand by while women, children, and families sleep outside or in an airport who look like us.
The governor says the state didn't have a choice but to use this center, but the local community, now without a space for their programs, questions why the state picked this venue instead of the suburbs.
We sympathize with them. We as a people in our community, we love, but sometimes we love so much that we spite our own selves.
It's not the first time.
Now we do that's one thing about Black people. We sure do sympathize. Sympathize a whole lot. Oh, don't let them. Oh, go ahead. Don't do that. Let them come on in.
We sympathize with them. We as a people in our community, we love, but sometimes we love so much that we spite our own selves.
It's not the first time that this community has.
So do you love? Because how can you love somebody else and not love? Like, it don't make sense. So is it love or is it like mental illness?
Much that we spite our own selves.
It's not the first time that this community has been asked to sacrifice over and over again, and so we'll continue to work with the state and ensure that all options are on the table.
Many residents.
By the way, let's not forget, right? All of the things how they was able to come, especially like in the scenarios that's been going down through all this time. You know what I'm saying? And the reparations that they also got, you know what I'm saying? But she's an immigrant too. You feel me? And all of them, including especially the East Indian, they'd be like, oh, I'm a brown person, but there's racism and pull yourselves up by bootstraps. And because they have enough of that other gene in them to make them want to be always accepted by the other side. And I'm sorry, you have no other friends. I hate to break it to you.
Continue to work with the state and ensure that all options are on the table.
Many residents are upset that this was done without a plan in place for their programs.
We have kids who also are impacted negatively, and our program is one that very
like, so young boys basketball, football teams, and all that, and even if you want to like you can make a good impression on young men or become like some kind of good figure on young boys through like if they are joining these things and teach them more so about how to become like manhood and show them different things. You know what I'm saying? I know when I was young, I played on like a football team and stuff like that. But all of these programs and everything that they do at this recreation center that's in the Black community, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know they showed it on the Black Panther. We didn't get the vibranium, but we got a community center. But apparently, if they would have fast forwarded in the next Black Panther, they're gonna have to show that a bunch of Mexicans in the community center in LA, you know what I'm saying, or wherever they built it at.
few stable times of their life.
The site is scheduled to shut down by June when it'll turn back.
Well, they're already talking about crime in the area. I ain't even bring up that stuff, you know what I'm saying? Notice I ain't say nothing about like them beating up the police and nothing like that. I ain't my business, but I'm just saying I'm only talking about the parts that affect us, and there is a lot of crime that does affect us in those areas, you know what I'm saying? And you know how these like they bring all that those gangs and stuff, you know, that you know they got a lot of cartel stuff going on down there, and then they want to be a Caucasian, so you know what I'm saying? Y'all remember that Mexican dude that I had on here? I don't even know what happened to him. I guess he got offended because I ain't letting some Mexican dude come on here when we talking about Black people stuff, you know what I'm saying? But you remember that dude, you know what I'm saying? It's like, even it's just naturally the way that they are, you know what I'm saying? Because every group of people is going to fight for their own, and they don't give a damn if, and with the love that we got, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how you keep getting abused if you call it love, you know?
Our program is one that very few stable times of their life.
The site is scheduled to shut down by June when it'll turn back into a rec center. The state says that they are planning similar shelters in Cambridge, Revere, and Quincy. And
So a couple other black neighborhoods up in Boston. Well, that's Boston, and I know that other brother is from Boston. Well, I think he said he's from Boston. So, you know.
At the impact a new temporary migrant shelter is having on the Roxbury community.
The shelter is set up in a rec center, and community members have been telling WBZ that they had no warning and they had no say in it. WBZ's Beth Germano is live for us in Roxbury tonight. And Beth, we keep being told.
First deadline indicated by the governor. These are suddenly busy days for a Roxbury restaurant owner. The pandemic nearly shut her down.
Today it is. It's irrelevant what she's talking about, though.
A meeting with Mayor Wu and Governor Healy.
We understand, what
The shelter is a source of controversy in the community since these beds have displaced many programs. Some activists seeking a meeting with Mayor Wu and Governor Healy.
We understand, what they're going through. But the bottom line is that we're tired of being.
I don't understand. I don't know what they're going through because
we're tired of being dictated to as it pertains to what happens in our community.
Brandon Ransom, whose two sons run track at the center, says the community was blindsided and a new location has not been identified for them.
They have to worry about not necessarily having a warm environment to be in and training for the sport that they love, especially when it's supposed to be indoor track season.
Norvia Pena understands the frustration, but says her delivery.
Hey, go outside in the cold, in the words, shut up and run. Right? That's what they tell you.
Track season.
Norvia Pena understands the frustration, but says her deliveries are providing comfort to others who have also been displaced.
They were laughing. They were sitting at a table eating. So yesterday you could see the change on their faces.
Yeah. Whatever you say, Spanish girl. Let me see, because I wish I could have played like
Antoinette, there has certainly been some pushback. While some community members have no problem with the temporary overflow shelter, others are concerned.
The one thing that we can do here now at this site in this country here and now is show them who we are as far as safety and security, particularly our women and children.
That would be nice. I had to play it because his brother said this. Now, he's talking about America, but I'm not. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about black people. You know?
The thing that we can do here now at this site in this country here and now is show them who we are as far as safety and security, particularly our women and children.
This is probably the 8th or 9th major location that we've opened around the state. So we've been all over the state. We're now coming to Boston. It's just born out of necessity.
Community activists also say many families are now scrambling since the temporary shelter will abruptly close down recreational programs for seniors and young people.
The black old people and the black young people ain't got nowhere to go now. And I don't know if that brother lives close to Boston. What's going on, Oni? They said 7 hoodlums jumped the police and not one gunshot. Yeah, they bring that cartel mindset. None of them bring their best people. A lot of them, like from Europeans, like if you look at the history, they sent the people that was in jail, like, oh yeah, go over there and try to make it, because they was just dying over here, right? They was just dying and eating each other. And this is the truth. Like if you look at the starving time in Jamestown and all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? They be like, oh yeah, we found the skeleton of like a little girl, and it looked like they bashed her head in and ate her, you know what I'm saying? And then like the people was like, yo, what are you doing? Like it's like fish and berries all over the place. They was like, no, they brought that barbaric mentality. And then a lot of other people have that kind of thuggish mentality, and they bring it, and then we like, oh yeah, come on in, like get you a plate. You want, like, let me help you somehow, It's crazy. It's what happens when you put an Asian person over you instead of your own. I don't know if she's a Democrat or not. Maybe she's a Democrat, so it's all good. But
People say they're working to relocate those rec programs.
Right, so they're afraid that they're never gonna get it back. And what's going on, Oni? Shouts out to Oni in the building. Now I have to show you this. Speaking of Roxbury, I wanted to show you this. This is Roxbury, because I don't know if I did show y'all this, But this was part of like the 1967 thing I was telling you about, what black people was doing when they was screwing over their tax money at that point in time. And it's 1967.
Alleged dissatisfaction with the welfare system causes riots in the ghetto district of Boston's Roxbury section. Stores were smashed, burned, and looted in 3 nights of violence. An angry mob estimated at 1,000 persons marched through the streets, throwing rocks and bottles at police, setting buildings on fire. It's Boston's first full-scale riot since the start of national racial tension. Police were not the only target for hoodlums. One rooftop sniper wounded a fireman while he fought the flames. Over 40 persons were arrested. They'll be arraigned following a cooling-off period. Boston's Mayor Collins called an emergency meeting with Negro leaders. Uneasy calm follows.
Yeah, so you see that. I wish I could show y'all a lot of this stuff because they got like the footage from it back then. You know, they was lighting the city up, and you know, these is the white. They talking about they Boston's finest, and y'all remember that story about like the firefighters back then. They already knew what was up with the firefighters because a lot of the firefighters was helping the police, and you know, so black people was shooting at them too. You know what I'm saying? Because they already knew what was up with. They was leaving them in buildings. They knew then what was up. You know what I'm saying? And
Sessions were started.
There's a reason why they had to keep bringing the military in.
20th annual Loyalty Day Parade on Fifth Avenue, sponsored, took place simultaneously.
All right.
Support of U.S. action in Vietnam. Martha Ray.
So yeah, this is let me see. This might be the same
section.
Yeah, I don't know, but y'all, you know, y'all get the point of that. Yeah, nothing is going to be temporary. They're going to leave those people right there. Yeah, you know, until you forget about it. Just like the Asians, they got their communities now. And like I said, it's not just the Mexicans and stuff like that. It's like Ukrainians getting their own like neighborhoods and all that stuff. And then you got a whole bunch of other quote unquote minorities and people of color, from the East Indians to the Asians to the shysters to the Ukrainians to the Mexicans, all doing the same thing, you know. And it's just that we stuck, like we don't have the right intentions, you know what I'm saying? It's like we just are a group of people without intention, you know. Now, I'm not gonna lie, that was the last like serious thing I was gonna show. And like I said, man, I was going to do this for people to disagree with me, and I was going to talk about some stuff that I disagree with some of y'all about, even though a lot of y'all probably not going to do that. But I know I haven't had like whatever for that in a while, and you know, I'd be hoping y'all can prove me wrong, but y'all don't, you know. I wish that y'all could though. So I'm gonna talk about something else, and like I said, if y'all want to come on and the link, you know what I'm saying. But that was the information that, you know, I was going to put out. The rest is just something else I wanted to show, you know. And so I'll put this in there, you know. I want to play this, you know. And speaking of Asians,
this establishment is not black owned, but you're stealing black culture. Is this not black culture? Trap tea, the boba plug? No, you're thieves. Asian people stealing black culture once again. It's okay, you'll be exposed though. You're not black owned. You're stealing black culture. You're stealing black culture. No, I came here because I thought it was black owned. That's why I came here. So my friends, I'm supporting a black business. This is not.
Now I will tell you this. If you look on any kind of website or app or anything that look up black owned, it's people of color. I can guarantee you that. And a lot of times they not black, you know what I'm saying? And that's just the truth, you know. And so even when you try to do that, they'll throw in some people of color business, and then Asians, you know how they get down, you know. So, and by the way, you know what I'm saying, when people be like, oh yeah, you're racist. Like, so, you know what I'm saying? We're not like anti-racist over here, you know. I'm not.
Owned. You're not. This is not black owned. Asians stealing black culture.
Well, see, you know, that's the thing. I don't care what business. I'm with the sister, you know what I'm saying, on this one. Only because that's the thing. Black people, what is right? What is the right thing to do instead of what is the right thing to do? You know what I'm saying? Because she's about to say something in a minute that's just going to get and that's the point.
Don't talk.
So he got offended. See, it had to be the brother to come up. It has to be a black person that steps up to be like, oh, well, what is this thing that you say? Like, what is the right thing to do here? Instead of being like, look, I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? If you don't want to be a slave anymore, you may not want to admit that you are, you know what I'm saying? Be like, oh yeah, chattel slavery is over. Well, like I said, that's a whole nother thing. But if you don't want to admit the truth, that's on you. You know what I'm saying? And by the way, if you have a dictator or something and I tell you that's how you got to act, that's what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. But and as the dictator, you know what I'm saying, as nice as I am, I'm saying, yo, we on the sister side. You know what I'm saying? We'll talk about that when we get home. How about that, you know?
Thank you for coming. Black culture. No, I came here because I thought it was black owned. That's why I came here. So my friends, I'm supporting a
Yeah,
black.
no, they're calling the black woman the Karen here in this situation. This white dude is calling the black woman a Karen. And I don't care if it's John Brown himself. Don't you ever open up your mouth. That's for us to decide. You know what I'm saying? That's for John Brown himself. Because a lot of y'all love John Brown and, you know what I'm saying, JFK and all that, you know what I'm saying? So even if you disagree with me that, because John Brown wasn't even real.
Thank you for coming. Black culture. No, I came here because I thought it was black owned. That's why I came here. So my friends, I'm supporting a black business. This is
That's
not
right,
black
sister.
Owned. This is not black owned. Asians stealing black culture.
And so last time I checked, Asians, they was just complaining about Asians making money off black culture, but I know they always suing and blaming y'all, or blaming us for everything.
Once again, you don't talk.
Pretend, and to make y'all feel better, pretend like this is a nail salon or a hair salon or something like that. All right.
You don't talk.
He got offended.
I don't care.
All right.
But yeah, you already because I didn't know.
That was the thing that set him off, because you're a coon.
No, I came here because I thought it was black owned.
All right, okay, my bad, y'all.
So my friends, I'm supporting a black business.
That's right,
not
sister.
black owned. This is not black.
So if it's not black owned, don't support it. Is in the words of our sister. And as dictator, I'm saying, if you do that, then we still gonna handle it within our own, because we can't be individuals. You know what I'm saying? So that's just what I'm saying. All right, so I do want to play this, right? Because it's irrelevant, but this is how some of us be looking out here. Now, this black sisters tried to get on the call with the Trump thing.
I appreciate
Yeah, we're just introducing ourselves. The MAGA people got to stick together. It's one country, one flag. So that's
No. Don't talk about MAGA people, but
the American
that was a
people.
shibby
The American people. But ourselves. The
Shibby-doo.
MAGA people got to stick together. It's one country, one flag. So that's
No.
One country, one flag. Now, MAGA or whatever, this is for if you identify with European borders. How about that? Because I'm not going to limit to one place like y'all like to do. If you identifying with European borders right now, and not something that includes all of us. All right. If you paying taxes to the Queen, or paying taxes to the state, or paying taxes to whatever the hell France got, You know what I'm saying? If you paying reparations to them, you know what I'm saying, this includes you.
No. Don't talk about MAGA people, but
The
that
American
was a
people.
shitty
The
deal.
American people. But
Hold on. Listen, Tropic, you are my co-speaker. You can say whatever you want, but don't you ever tell me like I'm Chase, right?
Okay.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Is that true? Hashtag black and
Black Chicago for Trump.
Miss
That's
Trav.
what it says. Hashtag Black
Yeah.
Chicago for Trump.
So who's Tropic? Do you know Tropic?
Now, by the way, I was just showing this is like 50 Cent talking about some damn Trump, because I ain't saying that there is a lesser of two evils, because evil is relative, you know what I'm saying? And now that's why I don't like to use the term evil, you know what I'm saying? Like I think we should have intentions with the words that we say as well as the actions that we do. And I get why certain people, we put intentions on the wrong thing, you know what I'm saying? But
Hashtag Black
Yeah.
Chicago for Trump.
So who's Tropic? Do you know Tropic?
Tropic?
Yeah.
I'm new to this whole Twitter space.
What brought you into space?
I told you I saw my friend was in here and it showed up at the top of my
And
screen.
so who's your friend?
Miss Trevian.
Who's your
Miss
friend?
Trevian.
oh yeah, and let me say this, right? Because if you do, because I listen to their stuff all the time, and sometimes I troll them. I'm losing my touch now because I can't get them to respond as much. I be trying to say some like crazy stuff to them, but they don't respond like they used to. So I gotta get nicer at that again. But like nobody likes to troll them more than me. But best believe, like they listen to. I'm not gonna say me, okay, you know what I'm saying, but black people, right? They listen, but and unless it's to cause confusion, they'll just listen. You know what I'm saying? Not try to participate. It'll be to cause confusion or to try to stand out and get attention to get their rocks off or something like that. Or they just be quiet and they listen so they can like see what you're doing. They study you all day. So like if you go in there, right, sometimes I'm not saying, but if you just sit there and listen or whatever, I'm not saying that is any, if you don't want to pay no attention, that's cool too, you know. But I'm just saying, you don't always have to be included.
Okay. So Miss Trevian, what brought her in here?
You gotta ask her.
You?
Mr. Tropic sent me a DM and said that he was going to be in a space.
Mr. Tropic, I say next time, don't ever bring these people in here.
Oh.
I don't want to talk to them.
Chase. Talk to me.
Wow.
I have a national radio show. I don't have to be in here with you. I was just trying to make
But no. So
Listen,
P-Ray,
I'll follow
pay attention
Mr.
to
Tropic.
this.
I don't
Pay
listen.
attention.
She's sitting there talking about some pay attention to this. This is the thing to pay attention to. Like, let's forget the last 800 years. This is what we learn.
Chase. Radio show. I don't have to be in here with you. I was just trying to make
But no. So
Listen,
P-Ray,
I'll follow
pay attention
Mr.
to
Tropic.
this.
I don't
Pay
listen,
attention
hold
to
on.
this because this
Okay,
is so
listen,
unnecessary.
let Mr.
And
Tropic.
he will
next
actually
time,
regret this
next time,
situation.
let Mr.
Thank you
Tropic
for
do this
having
stuff.
us. And
Listen, slow it down.
Goodbye. We don't have to be.
Thank you for having us and goodbye, because we're going to remain cordial and professional as black people. You know what I'm saying? But look, at the end of the day, you don't ever have to justify however you feel. Well, F you too then, you know what I'm saying? Well, you shouldn't be there, you know what I'm saying, number one. Or two, it's you there to troll them or cause disruption in whatever they got going on. Or you're there to hear what they are trying to plan to do or like what their next move is and take whatever bit of information that you could get out of it, you know what I'm saying? But you don't always have to be a professional, you know.
Here with you.
Goodbye.
I have a national radio
Yeah,
show.
goodbye.
Enjoy your room. Thank you, Tropic, for following. Ciao.
All right, so y'all hear that. Now, like I said, this ain't got nothing to do with nothing, all right? I don't even want to put this system on blast because, like, right now they mad about, like, the whole Black History Month. Like, they trying to troll black people, and a lot of black people is reacting. But it's, like, other black people that react, you know? I ain't gonna play this one. Let me see. So this sister was making the white boy do stuff.
Hi, fellow white people.
People like Martin Day. The Black society has some weird way great African Americans who have actually contributed to the society in one way or the other.
Now let me ask y'all, man. Do y'all want me to play this stuff with like Nikki Haley said or no? Because like it's irrelevant to me, but it was just funny, you know. Because this is more so about black people. I know people always be like, "Oh, why are you talking about?" It's not about them. It's about us, and they go along with the topic. But
Americans
if
who
y'all
have
say yes,
actually
I will. If y'all say
contributed
no,
to the
I won't.
society in one way or the other. People like Martin Luther King, Claudette Colvin, Booker T. Washington, Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks, just to mention but a few. But today, the Black society has some weird
You make endure. They only make 64 systemic
and believe me, they are very cringy, but I have no choice.
hey, white men. Due to systemic and structural racism that Black women have had to endure, they only make 64 cents to every dollar that you make. So, as a fitting start to Black History Month, I want to take what you will make today, multiply it by 64%, and then take that difference and give it to some Black women today. This shows that you are honoring them, that you are appreciating them, and that you are dedicated to equity. And Black women, you know what to do.
Black women know what to do. What am I supposed to do? I'm a Black woman and I'm clueless as to what I'm supposed to do. Anyway, first thing
She don't know what to do.
first, this woman is Delulu, and on top of that, she's a thief. And she's hoping that Black women will become lazy and entitled, so much so that they would expect white men to pay them for just being Black. My question is, though, why white men? What have white men done to Black women that they need to pay reparations for? She hates
What have white men done to Black women that you need to pay? I'm not gonna talk about this sister, right? I'm gonna be respectful. Now, this girl here, I don't agree with this either, though. You know what I'm saying? This girl here is sitting here making a joke, getting a white dude to do that, because we make everything a joke. Everything is not funny, you know, but it's irrelevant.
This is the kind of humiliation you get when you, as a white person, allow Black people to browbeat you into carrying this internalized guilt, not because you committed a crime or because you were actually racist to Black people, but simply because you were born white. And so, because you have allowed Black people to plant this internal guilt inside of you, you will become their puppet and you will do everything they want, everything they tell you, just because you want to get in their good books. But the problem is, no matter.
All right, I'm sorry, I answered the show, but y'all never answered me, so I guess I'll play it for a minute. I don't know. Forget it, I'll play it then.
Solutions going forward.
Now, you talk about your policies and some of the policies and the things that you stand on. You also said that you felt like Biden was been, I guess, Obama 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
What didn't you like about the Obama administration that you would have changed immediately? Like, what were you against?
There are a couple.
And you said something about Kamala. I want to ask why you said if Kamala was president, why it would send chills down your
Sure.
spine.
So a couple of things. I think with Obama, that was, if you go back, that's when we really started to feel the division. That's when we it was
a lot of that was because of white supremacists, though.
Well, no, I think it was everything. Everything was exaggerated with the Obama administration. It became more about gender. It became more about race. It became more about separating Americans instead of bringing them together.
That was because of right-wing media, though. Well, they were scared to death of a Black president.
Look, I don't think everybody is at fault. I'm not saying that one person did this, but I'm saying under that administration, it really did cause some. You just people felt like they were being put in camps through that administration. The second thing is, I saw he was very much an Iranian sympathizer. He very much, the Senate passed it quickly. The House, down, I want the flagpole down. He said, why? You could declare a win. You could tell everybody you got the flag down. Flag down. I strong-armed them and said, there will be a time where we talk about My dad kept getting his pro. I want to tell you a story. They're willing to bring the flag down. And I
Damn, my bad, y'all.
and he thanked them.
Fifths of a human. Black people were.
Right.
Admit that they're American.
Every time I pass that produce stand, I feel pain. I said, don't let a single child ride past our state house.
I don't know where
and
she was
see
from,
that
bro.
flag and feel pain. Get the flag and get the pole down. 1 a.m. that night, they voted. And
Admit that America is systemically and structurally a racist country.
I think culture has a lot to do with it, right? But
She was like, and by the way, because a lot of people didn't catch that, she was like, that culture, your black culture, got a lot to do with it.
Admit that America is systemically and structurally a racist country.
I think culture has a lot to do with it, right? But it's more of, if you look at that, how do you fix it?
Because even when you say all men are created equal, no, they weren't, because we were labeled 3/5 of a human. Black people were.
Right. And we made that wrong right.
Mhm.
And we've got some more rights we have to do. But this is
so systemically and structurally, do you think America is racist? Not the people, not everybody in America.
I don't think America's racist. I think we have racism in America.
And
I think we have cultural issues.
You know, black people, you know what, Nikki Haley just said, America ain't who, like, my thing is, I just see too many like of us like reacting to this and like angry and all of that stuff. Because when they talk about White History Month, you should probably learn like White History Month. Like, okay, so they had like all of this white on white crime and wars and often killed each other. They suffer from like hunger, so they killed each other. The Greek culture, you know what I'm saying, all the crazy stuff. I can't even say Greek culture because I would probably get kicked off YouTube with all the crazy stuff they was doing there. Yeah, you should learn about your enemies, definitely, and everything that they do. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, have a White History Month. You know what I'm saying? Well, we learn about how they'll kill each other because one of them got red hair, or how they are so disgusting that they was dying out from a plague of disease and stuff like that, or how they had to eat each other when they first got to America to survive. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I agree with White History Month. Yeah, who is Nikki Haley? I agree with that statement, only. That's why I asked y'all, should I play it? Because I'm like, my thing is though, like, yeah, can you believe Nikki Haley said that? Like, yeah. If it wasn't racist, why does she use her actual name, Nimrata? Yeah, I mean, but that's what she has to do. But when it comes to politicians, until you got your own politician where you funding them, then they're going to like do whatever who's funding them says. And then a lot of people is also talking about Charlemagne and them because they ain't say nothing back to her. They just let her get on there. Yo, KW Don 7 in the building. What's going on, bro? She is double talking. She also could not list slavery as the reason for the Civil War. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing about the slavery thing, because it's really like when they say slavery, is like they acting like the white people in the North was fighting to end slavery. It was, and that's my only problem with how they try to be like, oh, it was over slavery, like, well, it was over slavery to end it, but that's not the case. They was fighting over tax money. They was like, yo, the North was like, the South is making all of this money, and we're not making nearly as much in the way that it's set up in the North. So let's find a way to tax them. That was a part of the 3/5 compromise, was about tax money. The Civil War completely about tax money, because let's not forget, like, they'd never ended, quote unquote, Abraham Lincoln did not end slavery in the North, in places like Washington, DC. You know what I'm saying? And so like when they're never going to say that, but it really was about tax. It was about slavery, about taxing slaves. You know what I'm saying? We want in on that tax money that you're making from slaves in the South. Like, hell no, we ain't paying that. We gonna succeed and all that stuff, you know. Yeah, Nimrod, yeah. Nikki Haley is political theater. Yeah, that's all she is.
But let me explain where I am. So first of all, I grew up, and you might have, I don't know if Berkeley County was like this, in a town of 2,500 two stoplights. We were the only Indian family in that small southern town. We weren't white enough to be white. We weren't black enough to be black. They didn't know who we were. What
Stop lying. You know that black people, if all you had to do is drink some Kool-Aid or something, and she would have got invited to the cookout, or some brother would have tried to get on with her, she definitely could have been black if she wanted to, knowing us or how we still think. And like I said, we all disagree with that.
what we were or why we were there. In that rural town, we didn't know what we didn't have. And so people just survived. I now have a education.
See, this that East Indian stuff. Like I think about when I forget, I think it was Khalid Muhammad or Louis Farrakhan was on the Donahue thing, and then that Indian chick said something. She was like, "Oh yeah, I am a person of color," you know, however they talk, and was like, you know, like I am brown too, and I am whatever, but we worked hard. Us East Indians work. Meanwhile, you know what I'm saying, they got their whole thing set up, but now what they're doing is working as quote unquote East Indians. Y'all can break that down better than I can, you know, but here you go. But what do they have in common? You know what I'm saying? That want to be accepted by that whiteness thing.
Foundation in South Carolina, where we do after school programs in all rural challenged areas, because you've got to give.
Well, that's the thing, because speaking of disagree, I know Bakari probably sleep, you know what I'm saying, getting ready for, I know he don't like the, I'm going to say indentured servitude then, since to make him feel better. But he did teach at the HBCU, didn't he? Then I wonder what he went home and teach this Indian girl here. He did teach at the HBCU, but I can't say that because, oh, God forbid, I didn't graduate from an HBCU, so I can't have no thing like, you know what I'm saying? I better not say nothing about a white girl kicking, being a kicker, you know what I'm saying? But yes, her dad did teach at an HBCU. But that's again, you know what I'm saying? Like, it is called intentionality. Yeah, she's running for president. Well, she's trying to go against Trump. But you know, that's a whole nother thing. That's up to them to decide.
Extra support to those areas that don't have. But when I came into South Carolina as governor, we had thousands of people on welfare. A lot of that was generational.
Yeah, Rod, at the end of the day, she's a white chick. You know what I'm saying? She's white. You know what I'm saying? That's what she is. East Indian is a place because there are black people in East India. You know what I'm saying? Now, when we think of East Indians, I see them as mixed people. You know what I'm saying? To me. And the Arabs is probably a lot harder if you want to like debate that kind of thing than the East Indians. You can kind of clearly see, you know what I'm saying? Especially the you know, the thing on their forehead and all that stuff. Now their culture, of course, we know where all of that stuff comes from, like, you know. But she's a white chick, you know what I'm saying? She's just a white girl that went to eat, like, you know, when the British went over there, you know what I'm saying? They raped the women and did what they practiced European culture, you know.
From one generation to the next, they just lived on welfare. It's all they knew. I wanted to change that. So what I did is I took the people on welfare and I matched them up with businesses. And I told the businesses, if you will taught them a skill, now
you can't have honest conversations about racism. It's never been a racist country. We've heard the vice president.
Because he about to say the Civil War
I
thing.
wonder why can't politicians, Democrat and Republican, because we've heard you say America's never been a racist country. We've heard the vice president say that before. We've heard OG Jim Clyburn say that before. We've heard Tim Scott say that before. Why can't Democrats and Republicans just be honest and tell people, hey, we can't have honest conversations about racism in this country because it's not a good electoral strategy?
I mean, that's not why I do it.
That's why.
No.
That's why everybody does.
I have talked about racism as it affected me and how we need to get past it. I mean,
you can't talk about it and say America's never been a racist. You can't say America's never been a racist country, but then talk about the racism you've experienced.
There is racism in our country. I don't think that our country was founded to be.
By the way, you is the racist one, and she would say the Democrats is the racist ones, but they all are, you know. But they would also say that you are actually the racist ones. CRT is racist and stuff like that, you know.
Racist. I don't. I think that it was meant to be this amazing experiment to see if we could have freedom and democracy in a way that all men are created equal.
So pretty much them kidnapping you and raping you is an experiment. But thank God, because we'd be in Africa praying to a tree right now otherwise. So
if we could have freedom and democracy in a way that all men are created equal.
But if you didn't
We
look at
are
all
not
men,
there yet.
But if you didn't look at all men as equal from the beginning, then the ideology is flawed.
But why do you want kids to hear that they live in a racist country? Why can't you tell kids, look, we're not perfect and we have some more things to fix? I don't want any child to think like that. I don't want any child to believe that they're disadvantaged from the second they're born. I didn't want to feel that.
Well, Buwana, it's okay. And because in South Carolina, she got the Confederate flags took down from the courthouse or wherever she got them took down from. So it's okay, you know what I'm saying, that little thug went in there and slaughtered them children. That's what she would say. So yeah, so after that she took that down, you know what I'm saying? So, and by the way, yeah, how was the Confederate flag at the thing if they lost the war? I'm like always been confused by that. How did they fly the flag after they at a government building after they lost? Anyway,
I don't think it's a disadvantage. I think if you tell somebody, I think if you tell somebody it's cold outside, that just makes them put on a coat.
No, it makes them know what it's going to feel like before they even get outside. I don't want kids to feel that. I want them
so
to.
when you go outside, I want you to be in your pajamas. It was like 2 degrees outside. No, you just go outside and see what it's gonna be like first before you put on your clothes. Don't put no coat on them or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? No, it's just go outside. Just see what it feel like when you get out there.
Makes them know what it's going to feel like before they even get outside. I don't want kids to feel that. I want them to get outside with confidence and strength and know that they can beat anything. We have to do that.
But they got to know the truth too.
Yeah,
They
I
have
don't
to
think
know
there's nothing wrong
the
with telling
truth.
people the truth.
Like I have two black sons, and they have to understand what they're facing when they go out to this world. It's not going to be the same as, let's say, my neighbor or a class.
Do y'all want to know the truth? There's no such thing as anti-racism, and the only way you'll ever be able to get out of it is if you use them using your babies as an alligator bait as motivation. But that's the truth.
Me. It's going to be the same, and the same
truth
thing
didn't
with you.
stop you.
And
Yeah.
same thing with you. If you
truth
have
did not
brothers,
stop you.
and let's say your brothers wore the same thing that your dad wore, they weren't going to have the same lifestyle, and they were going to be looked at differently.
Yeah, her kids can go outside with no, and I say kids for her, you know what I'm saying? They are kids, you know what I'm saying? They can go outside with no coats on. Y'all wonder how they had the Black Plague, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I guess just to piss more people off, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever group of people that claims going over there teaching them how to bathe, like that was some sellout stuff, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't want to claim that, you know.
Your other classmates.
Look,
it's the truth.
There was a We Miss Bamberg pageant that everybody would put their children in. It was the big thing in Bamberg. You always put your kids in. So my mom decided to put me and my sister in this pageant. And I was disqualified because they had a black queen and they had a white queen. And they said they didn't know where to put me because if I was in the black category, the blacks would be mad. If I was in the white category, the whites would be mad. So they,
Like, yo, this ain't Zimbabwe, you know what I'm saying? We better not put this white girl as a black queen.
Then your other classmates.
Look,
it's the truth.
There was a We Miss Bamberg pageant that everybody would put their children in. It was the big thing in Bamberg. You always put your kids in. So my mom decided to put me and my sister in this
Go
pageant.
back this far down.
And I was disqualified because they had a black queen and they had a white queen. And they said they didn't know where to put me because if I was in the black category, the blacks would be mad. If I was in the white category, the whites would be mad. So they gave me a beach ball and sent me on my way.
A beach ball?
Yeah, I know. That's all I got, right? Only after my mom said, will you at least let her sing her song? You're never going to believe it. My song was This Land Is Your Land, This Land Is My Land. I mean, it doesn't get any worse than that. Listen, did my parents sit down and say
Like, what's even
to
funny
us
about that?
what
Must be
happened here was
European.
wrong? Yes. But did they say, this is the way the country is? No. My mom said, you get up.
Now I wonder what he was telling them black students at that damn HBCU. Ain't that something? Maybe we should have questions sometimes for ourselves in certain situations, and not just the things that we love and we want to protect it. That's what I'm saying. Like that's why I kind of like messing with y'all about the things that y'all disagree with me about. You know what I'm saying? Like, because as dictator here, you know what I'm saying? This not even a problem in the first place. If I was dictator, so never mind.
You show
Or now that
this
I'm
is we're going to
dictator.
make it better tomorrow. It's my mentality that I want everybody to know we all have a job to do, and that's to fix this country. And we never stop doing it. We have racism, and it's
Now
terrible.
everybody's trying to diss her and call her like Nimrata as a diss, but like it's Nikki. She's a white girl. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can call her Nikki or whatever you want to call her. You can put whatever slang on it. It's Nikki. She's just just what Europeans have done across the globe.
I've
But
felt
she has
it.
a
Y'all
black.
felt it. A lot of people have felt it. But are we not going to fight every day to make sure that we stomp it out wherever we see it? Absolutely.
Y'all about to say, is that a hook nose? But I might be tripping. Okay, never
But
mind.
I don't want kids being raised to think that they're never going to get past it. I want them to think that they can actually be the ones that help us get past it.
But they have to know what it is. You can't take it out of classrooms. You can't take it out of curriculum. You can't act like it doesn't exist.
They gotta know what they're fighting for.
Yeah, I have to heal it in order. You have to reveal it in order to heal
But
it.
didn't we learn in South Carolina? We learned about it.
Off-white.
We learned about it in history classes. You should always talk about it in history classes. You don't know how to keep bad things
Yo, that was literally off-white.
from happening if you don't look at the past and say, okay,
right.
how do we go? Those are the lessons that we have to learn. I think it's fine to talk about it. I have no issues with that. But don't judge people who are trying to do right now. And don't live in the past. Let's look forward and say, what do we want to look like?
So wait. All right, because that's what I was just saying. Like, the Holocaust was like 100, 200 years ago. Like, Hitler is dead. You know what I'm saying? That was a whole nother country. Jews put other Jews in the ovens. Like, at some point, like, we got to let the past go. But now you're a presidential candidate.
So why did you take the Confederate flag down? Was it because it was a symbolism of racism or hate? Like, why? Because you said it was two sides.
And it wasn't for me to judge, but you couldn't look at that killer draped in that Confederate flag and not know
Dylan
that
Roof,
that was.
right, there you go.
It really is what I told I didn't want any child to ride by that and think of those 9 people that died. And like, we had to do that. That I had to. And the thing is, they had tried for years to get it down. It was put up.
Oh, I remember.
It was put up by a Democrat governor who promised to just have it up for a year and take it down, and he never took it down.
A Democrat governor? You mean a white governor?
So this is not where you blame people. This is
Probably
about
a
saying,
black
let's
governor.
right a wrong. And that's what I've always tried to do. If I live my life blaming, what Trump calls me today or what somebody said about me yesterday or whatever, I'd spend all that energy.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, Buwana. Who cares? Like, that's European culture. Like, they're white bitches, you know what I'm saying? Like, they have a promiscuous history. Like, we know that white bitches are promiscuous, you know what I'm saying? They're like easy. They, you know what I'm saying? They get addicted to we know how this goes. And you can't say that this is racist because apparently nothing has ever been racist. You know what I'm saying? Like, so even if this was my culture, right, I couldn't say that this is built off racism because it has to be like truth to them. So I mean, this is truth. A lot of white bitches are promiscuous, so that's why it's not like really shocking news that they do things like this. You know what I'm saying? Like she was accused of,
Energy on them instead of spending the energy on saying, I'm going to do better.
Do you think Trump mocking your birth name was racist?
I mean, I think we can let other people decide that. I think that, you look at it and it's kind of like the Tim Scott, you sleep with yourself. I mean, we'll let Donald Trump sleep with that all he wants.
Oh, he don't care. He sleeps very good at that.
And then that's why we need a new president.
What's your thoughts on immigration?
I
noticed.
All right. I'll stop it here. Forget it. Because I want to show y'all something else. Now, I wanted to show y'all this because I was going to let y'all disagree. And then I was just going to play this to like annoy y'all. But I'm going to still play it anyway to annoy y'all. But I'm not going to play it long because I'm going to show something positive. But I mean, like I said, if y'all want the link, let me know. But it's like if you disagree with me, though, you know what I'm saying? And what you disagree with me about, You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not gonna like bite my tongue. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be as mean as I was. You know what I'm saying? Because I was gonna like, kind of show you your hypocrisy. But I decided to do something better. But if you want to disagree with me about what I be saying, whether you try to figure out a way to let the mulattoes in, you know what I'm saying? Whether you think I'm too extreme, you know what I'm saying? Whether you think whatever, if you disagree, then or hell, whether I be wrong about history, whether I be tripping, because y'all don't be disagreeing with me, you know what I'm saying? And I wish I was wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Hell, if y'all get tired of the stuff that I show, and then I'm gonna show this Jones just to make y'all mad, but it's maybe sound bad, but this is what I hear when I hear some of y'all saying some of the stuff that y'all do. This is Jesse Lee Peterson interviewing Larry Elder.
The Antichrist.
How do I know who is easy? I'm gonna put the link in real quick, right? So if y'all want this to sound, because I'm not gonna play it long, because I want to play something positive, too. All right, but I'm gonna put the link in the chat, and like I said, if you want to say something about what I showed, that's cool, because like we talked about the immigration and our tax money, but also if you disagree with me, if your dictator lets you come, Oni, you know what I'm saying, you can come, I'm just messing with you on it. Or if Bukhari's slave master, or he sleep because he gotta get up early in the morning. I wonder why, you know what I'm saying, no matter what he wants to say. All right, let me chill out because I won't go do that. I was just messing with y'all. But if y'all want to come on and say something, y'all can do that. But I'm gonna play this, and then I'm gonna get off here in a minute. I'm gonna play something positive to end it. Because, and by the way, before I do that, me and Cassandra is gonna come on here tomorrow, and that's why I'm gonna be way more positive. We're gonna start talking about business. I know y'all don't want to hear it when I talk about positive stuff or like Black history stuff and stuff. Or like, I know some of y'all appreciate it, but like, yeah, people don't really. It don't matter if they do or not, as long as like a few people do. I'm just saying, y'all only enjoy this type of stuff. But this is how some of y'all are. So I dare y'all
Blackface
to
of white
come on
supremacy. The thing I've rarely been called, and what would bother me more than anything else, is wrong.
Yeah.
I'll say something about taxes, something about regulation, something about what the welfare state has done to the Black family, something about the dismal state of K through 12 education in urban America. And people may attack me and call me a sellout and Uncle Tom, but I rarely hear the word wrong. Yeah. That to me would bother me more than anything else. Aside
they
from
like
that,
say wrong all the time.
Jesse, over the years, I'm sure you developed the same kind of hard bark.
This be tripping me out. This trips me out, stuff. I watch everything, y'all. This trips me out. Just watching
over the
these
years,
two
you
together.
realize that when people say stuff
people
like that,
this.
that means they're out of ammo. The thing to do if you think somebody is wrong is to marshal the facts, make an argument, here's why you're wrong. They can't do that, so they call names. It's silly. It's almost sad because it shows you they're not willing to develop anything, not willing to grow.
Yeah.
And we in the Black community have a real problem with that, which is why we have so many problems, because somebody like myself, somebody like yourself comes out and say, look, number one problem in the Black community is not systemic racism. It's the large number of kids who enter the world without a father in the home married to the mother. It's a problem for America in general, but it's particularly acute in the Black community, where 70% of Black kids enter the world without a father in the home married to the mother, up from 25% back in 1965. And what's happening?
I was about to say, the Moynihan report came out last week or something? He's still saying that same talking point.
The welfare state, launched by Democrat Lyndon Johnson in 1965, has incentivized women to marry the government and incentivized men to abandon their financial and moral responsibility. And when I raise this, instead of saying, let's deal with it, why is it happening, I get attacked, which means it doesn't get solved.
Yeah. I was wondering, your message is for all people. It's for all people, but especially Black people. And if they were to listen to the message and follow a little bit of it, just some of it, their life would get so better. Has it ever bothered you that the Blacks, not all, but most Black people goes against the message?
Yeah, it bothers me because we're not going to improve the problem until we recognize we have it.
Y'all scared, so I had to pick on these two because y'all scared to get y'all points going against, but that's
Kid
all right.
raised without a father, Jesse, is
I
5
love
times
y'all
more likely to
anyway.
be poor and
Oh, I
commit
must be
crime,
right.
9 times more likely to drop out of school, and 20 times more likely to end up in jail. Now, it seems to me, if that's true, I would want to know what I can do to reverse that instead of attacking the guy that's bringing the message.
Yeah.
I was in Mar-a-Lago with Donald Trump about a month ago.
Oh yeah.
When I dropped,
And I'm gonna skip this story because it might get explicit, if you know what I mean.
Obama got elected.
Well, I don't want to know what he was doing in Mar-a-Lago with him.
MLK gave an interview in 1964. This is right after the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 64, which, as you probably know, a greater percentage of Republicans voted for than Democrats.
Yes.
Republican, of course, is the party of racism. So it had just passed. MLK gave an interview. And he said, the changes in America, positive changes.
Oh, no, this is part.
He left.
I ain't listened to this, I ain't gonna lie.
Got
The
worse.
whole thing.
Because for the entirety of his 2 terms.
See, this is what Nikki Haley was saying, you know, when they asked him, like, why is that? Then she went on a long story about how, like, race relations, whatever, was under.
It's about America being
I'd rather
systemically
do it
racist
this way
and
because
bring
who
us
cares
together
what
racially.
Nikki Haley said?
Even people didn't vote for him assume that. The polls showed that both blacks and whites thought race relations would improve.
But y'all would argue with Nikki Haley, but y'all be like, oh, I ain't paying these black people. Because, I mean, I'm just saying, they might be supreme to you. They might be white supreme to us.
Later, when he left, both blacks and whites thought race relations got worse. Because for the entirety of his 2 terms, it was race card after race card after race card, beginning with the Cambridge police acted stupidly. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
White police officer in Cambridge.
Yo, that was funny. Henry Louis Gates, who also is allegedly a clone, you know what I'm saying, or does clonish things. They didn't call the police on him in his white neighborhood because they talking about he breaking in his own house. You know what I'm saying? And so then he called that racist, you know.
Out loud.
Yeah.
The big problem in America with these young black men is they're not complying. And instead of complying with a perfectly reasonable, lawful order.
You know, you don't know who Larry Elder was just running for president like a few months ago or a few weeks ago until they didn't even let him on the debate stage. And I'm pretty sure you know Jesse Lee Peterson, who is conning the hell out of him. I'm not saying he ain't a clone, but he's conning the hell out of them, you know.
You copped an attitude. That's what Obama should have said. What did he say? The Cambridge police acted stupidly. And it ticked off police officers all over America, and that set the foundation for his criticizing the police time and time again unfairly. Then there was, if I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon.
Yeah.
Referring
to if Michael Johnson looked like if Obama had a son, he would look like Michael Johnson.
Trayvon Martin.
Think about that.
Okay, Trayvon Martin was shot and killed by a guy named George Zimmerman. Zimmerman stood trial for second-degree homicide. The jury found him not guilty.
Yeah, I never comply. You know what I'm saying? That is my problem. No, my problem is that y'all do comply. That's the thing. Y'all comply. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing about it, because if like you could put a dictator there, you know what I'm saying, and he'd be like, oh yeah, whatever I say is right. You use the bathroom this way because I said so. And I think you asking for trouble. That's all I'm saying.
And those jurors who spoke to the media afterwards said race had nothing whatever to do with it. That's what started.
And Bukhari already. I ain't gonna make fun of Bukhari because he probably sleep for real. You know what I'm saying? Because he got to get ready to get up and go to the fields tomorrow, even though he don't like to admit it. You know what I'm saying? But the rest of y'all, you know what I'm saying, I can't say whatever because I wasn't going to, but I will anyway.
By the way, Black Lives Matter. People think George Floyd started.
You know what? I'm not. I'm gonna be positive. I'm gonna be more
over
positive.
the death
I'm sorry.
of George
I
Floyd.
apologize, y'all.
Keep in mind regarding that, there were 25 people killed, millions of people.
Yeah,
who
he was just running for president, but they wouldn't let him as a Republican. But they wouldn't let him into the presidential debate and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They did him dirty. And he wouldn't call it racism because he can only really say black people are racist because that's his job. But yeah, Larry Elder he ran for governor. He ran for a bunch of stuff, but he never wins. You know.
Over the death of George Floyd. Keep in mind regarding that, there were 25 people killed, millions of people who were protesting, a lot of property damage, $2 billion worth of insured property damage, maybe another $2 billion of uninsured property damage. Why? Over the assumption that Officer Derek Chauvin did what he did because of George Floyd's race. The lead prosecutor in that, the reason I mention that is that there was a website called, there is a political affiliation of the people that were protesting, but the reason I mention that is that there was a website called, there is a website called policemag.com. And they asked people who self-described as very liberal, how many unarmed black men did the police kill in 2019? 50% of the self-described very liberal people.
All right, let me play this part.
Why don't white
I'm gonna say something positive
conservative
right now,
men, why don't they speak up for themselves? Why do they shut down when they're called racist rather than just saying?
Because y'all is not gonna like I said, if y'all tired of me showing these kind of people, then you can call me out on that. You can call me out on anything that you want to call me out on. You know what I'm saying? If you think the slave trade didn't exist, if you think socialism is what's up, yeah, you are a damn Marxist. If you're a damn integrationist, if you think that, you know what I'm saying, white bitches can have black children, you know what I'm saying, whatever it is, feel free, like, to come and tell me why I'm wrong, prove me wrong.
Why don't white people, especially white conservative men, why don't they speak up for themselves? Why do they shut down when they're called racist rather than just saying, let them call you names? These people want to call you names anyway, right? They want to control you.
Yeah.
Why are white people afraid to speak up for themselves?
I ran for president, as you know, and I'm in Iowa, predominantly white state, and New Hampshire, predominantly white state. And I give a speech. And in my speech, I always talk about why I ran for president. And the first thing I say is I wanted to address the issue of the epidemic of fatherlessness. I give the stats. And almost inevitably, it's well received, my speech is. And when I'm done, people come up to me. Well, Larry, you're right about the epidemic of fatherlessness. I used to teach, and I saw the same thing. But I can't say it, because if I say it, they'll call me racist. You can say it. I said, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Malcolm X said, I'm for the truth, no matter who's telling it.
That's right.
You can tell it. And instead of balling up yourself in a defensive position when somebody calls you a racist, you call them out.
Yeah.
What have I said that makes me a racist? That's part of the problem. Nobody is willing to tell the truth.
I know.
For fear of being attacked. If you're white, you'll be attacked as being systemic.
You know, a lot of y'all had a problem with this because I'm not mad that the sister Claudia Gay got, and I'm like, if you're talking about it, maybe you shouldn't be talking about it. You know what I'm saying? Because what do you expect about it? You know what I'm saying? If you disagree with that too, I disagree with all of that. You know what I'm saying? We can let it all be out there tonight. You know what I'm saying? I know y'all, I'm not going to be mean to y'all, okay? You know what I'm saying? So y'all don't have to be scared. But other than that, you know what I'm saying? I don't know why if we got a problem or whatever.
Hey, I asked you about this woman from Harvard.
Claudine Gay?
Yeah, Claudine Gay.
Claudine Gay.
And she resigned yesterday.
No, she didn't resign. She resigned president of Harvard. She's still a Harvard tenured professor. She still has her job, $800,000 a year. You don't have to throw a benefit for her.
Really? So she like still working at the school?
Oh yeah,
she's
still a tenured professor.
She's just not the president.
It takes almost an act of God to get rid of a tenured professor. She's still a tenured.
They got rid of Cornell West, I think. I think they did at so.
Professor. She's no
takes
no
an act of whiteness.
Are the Jews aware of that?
Or the Jews? I think most Jews and Gentiles are not aware of it.
They're not. So they don't know that she's still there?
Here's the thing about Claudine Gay. Obviously, she's an affirmative action hire.
I'm not.
Her predecessor, Lawrence Summers.
Because this is a topic that I want to talk about, and I want to do that again. Hopefully, if Matron will come through, I'm not, you know, because we'll have a good conversation. Matron and Bukhari and Koku come through again, or whoever else want to be a part of it too. You know, about a discussion between black men and black women, because this is issues that we got to get solved, and hopefully we can do the part two to that, because we were supposed to. I didn't go deep on that one like I probably should have and ask the tough questions, but I will from now on. And you know, so
what's wrong with men and women today? They're so divided. You know, a lot of guys are complaining they can't find the right woman to date, and the women are expecting guys to spend money on them, expensive hotel cafes and travel and all that. And so a lot of guys don't know how to deal with women today. What was wrong with that?
I'm not sure you're asking the right guy because I've never had a problem.
Yeah.
I've never had a problem.
Right.
Yeah,
I've always
right.
had plenty of girlfriends. And
You sound like Tim Scott now.
I have had strong women in my life. My mother was a very strong woman. My Aunt Dorothy was a very strong woman. My aunts were very strong. And so I've never had an issue with women.
So are the guys afraid of the women?
I think a lot of people have postponed getting.
I know you said you were so angry at him that you.
All right. So anyway, all right then. I guess y'all are afraid, or I'm right. You know what I'm saying? So my way goes from now on. So I'm gonna say something positive. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to hear no criticism about how I do stuff, or if you got a problem with even how I was doing the water thing, or if you think it's like I'm not doing enough, or you think I'm like lying or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You can come on and put me on blast. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, all right, let me show something positive because y'all ain't got the courage to do it. You know what I'm saying? That's all right. So we were talking about Black-owned businesses now. You know what I'm saying? I'll do that. I'll say something positive because me and Cassandra, by the way, is tomorrow we're gonna come on and I'm gonna do something positive. And we talking about Black business. You know what I'm saying? After Matron's live, you know, and her reading about Carlos Cooks, you know, we can come on here and do that. You know what I'm saying? Me and Cassandra gonna come on here and talk about business. So I know y'all ain't gonna want to hear that kind of stuff, but this is something positive to build up to that, since you know y'all are like kind of scared. You know what I'm saying?
Well, in honor of Black History Month, dozens of Black-owned businesses are setting up shop inside the Broadway Market every weekend for the month of February. News 4's Sarah Mankiewicz caught up with a few locally
Yeah, I know
owned.
y'all listening, so I know y'all disagree with me, and I didn't. I was just joking with some of y'all, but I was just saying stuff to make y'all mad, but y'all just accept it. That's all right.
Well, in honor of Black History Month, dozens of Black-owned businesses are setting up shop inside the Broadway Market every weekend for the month of February. News 4's Sarah Mankiewicz caught up with a few locally owned businesses who are showcasing their passion, talent, and history.
It feels great.
Well, I said it. You know what I'm saying? Well, I was like, this show was. I don't call this a show. You know what I'm saying? This is a live. This is not a show. You know what I'm saying? And I don't like even calling it a show or nothing like that because it's not, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, if anybody disagree with me, but I started saying, and I was going to say, like, I guess I was going to make it more blatant, but I tried to make it more positive. But I disagree with y'all about a lot of stuff, you know what I'm saying? I definitely disagree with you only about this dictator stuff that y'all talk about. I think you're asking for trouble. That's for you. But I say anything that I say that that y'all disagree with. You agree with me about the mulatto thing. Other people don't agree with me about that. You agree with me about certain things. I don't know what you disagree with me about. I know you disagree with me about that. So that's what I was saying to you, Oni. And whoever else believes that, you know what I'm saying? Because no matter how good or benevolent somebody may be, they may not always be right. You feel me? And they may be making a grave mistake that will leave us all at risk. And you put anything in one person's hands, you're asking for trouble. But this also to the people who say, talk about this capitalism nonsense all day and all that stuff, you know. Anything that I say that you disagree with me about, or like I said, if you think I'd be too crazy on HBCUs, or you think that I'm too extreme or that you got to do it a certain way, or that I need to be doing it a certain way, feel free. You know what I'm saying? That's why I got to shout out Blue. She always like challenged me on everything that I was saying. You know what I'm saying? But Anyway.
I love the energy. I love the atmosphere. I love all the lenders and
Well, that was just what I disagree with you about, Oni. I don't know. It's probably something else I disagree with you. I just can't think of it off the top. But I can probably think of something to disagree with you about. But it's not the point of trying to disagree with you. I'm just saying, if you do disagree with me, because I'm gonna tell you something, people do get in their feelings about, like, for whatever reason, about what I say or the things that I do. Or if I try to do something, then they'll be like, oh, you shouldn't do it this way, or I'm trying to do this or trying to do that. But if I don't do anything, they'll be like, oh, you don't do anything. You know what I'm saying? You're just talking. Even if I was, I'm sitting here doing something that's supposed to be done, which is propaganda. This is propaganda. I'm not saying that it's not true. It's very true. But this is definitely propaganda. You know what I'm saying? The propaganda that you need anyway, you know? That's my thing. But anything in the world. But I guess I'm right about everything. So it'll be tough to do that. You know what I'm saying? And I intentionally also left out, like, religious stuff, but whatever.
Showcasing their passion, talent, and history.
It feels great. I love the energy. I love.
Well, I am the dictator, because y'all say that there should be a dictator. So I am the dictator because nobody challenged me. That's how you get it. You know what I'm saying? You come over, take over. Nobody challenged you. You know what I'm saying? That's the dictator. So, you know what I'm saying? What I say, go. You know what I'm saying? And after my dictatorship, I'm ending dictatorships, period, because dictatorships is slippery slope. So as dictator, I'm outlawing dictatorship after I die, of course, you know, because I'm going to be the last dictator.
Caught up with a few locally owned businesses who are showcasing their passion, talent, and history.
It feels great. I love the energy. I love the atmosphere. I love all the lenders and vendors that's here. I just love it.
Every Saturday in February.
Okay, y'all, my bad. I'm going to play it one more time. This is positive stuff, y'all. This is positive. My bad. I got caught up.
Well, in honor of Black History Month, dozens of Black-owned businesses are setting up shop inside the Broadway market every weekend for the month of February. News 4's Sarah Mankiewicz caught up with a few locally owned businesses who are showcasing their passion, talent, and history.
It feels great. I love the energy. I love the atmosphere. I love all the lenders and vendors that's here. I just love it.
Every Saturday in February, more than 40 local Black-owned businesses will set up shop inside the Broadway market.
It's very important because we're small businesses, and when we're collaborating with one another, one great thing. The other thing is that we're getting to know other businesses, and we're able to present our craft, our passions.
Brenda McCarley owns Chickalia Desserts and says it's a treat to be part of this pop-up event.
It's a great honor to be here, Black History Month, celebrating Black History Month with the buyback event.
Felicia Doucette is excited to bring some soul food to the Broadway market.
That's what makes me happy, that Black History Month is being acknowledged. Black History Month is special to all of us in and outside of the community. Like I said, it's a positive thing within the community, and I'm so glad I'm a part of it.
From food to music to art.
It's complicated. That's the thing. We like to make everything complicated. We gotta take a 15-minute speech to say why it's okay to mess with white bitches, for example. Not saying that like you or nothing. I'm just saying conversations from the past that I've had. And you take 15. Communication is not supposed to be complicated. It's supposed to be simple. You know what I'm saying? Like, once you start making it complicated, now you got to start asking yourself, like, well, what's going on here? Because it's supposed to be, you can take complicated things and make it simple. It's not complicated. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's a monopoly of force, but all governments aren't monopoly or aren't dictators. You know what I'm saying? And the dictator is a slippery slope, especially like you could be like, oh yeah, I'll appoint this person to check my power, but you appoint the damn person who's checking your power, and then you just fire him as dictator. I think you asking for trouble if you do that, in my opinion. So
the pop-up event has it all to celebrate Black History Month.
y'all gonna be quiet now. Let me stop. Not Oni. I'm not saying Oni. Oni got courage. Oni is the only one that'll probably have courage. So I ain't gonna say Oni got a jump boy. He could if he want to, but only got courage. Bakari, he got to get ready for his slave. He got to. Indentured servitude tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So he can't be up but so late. Even though he free, he can do what he want to do, but he got to go to sleep at a certain time. So I ain't gonna pick on him because he ain't here, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm talking to all of y'all though. Or like if you love JFK, you know what I'm saying? If you think damn slave ships didn't exist, because I do all of these lives, or you think that I'm tripping if you be like, you ain't no damn citizen in America. Right? You ain't no citizen, right? Because y'all was like, oh, how could you say that? But then when I was like, yeah, let's do that, they didn't show up. I'm just trying to make sure I'm on point. So I'm taking from y'all lack of action that I am on point. I don't know. And that excludes, I guess it don't exclude nobody. So.
One another, one great thing. The other thing is that we're getting to know other businesses and we're able to present our craft, our passions.
Brenda McCarley owns Chickalia Desserts and says it's a treat to be part of this pop-up event.
It's a great honor to be here, Black History Month, celebrating Black History Month with the buyback event.
Felicia Doucette is excited to bring some soul food to the Broadway market.
That's what makes me happy that Black History Month is being acknowledged. Black History Month is special to all of us in and outside of the community.
Hold on one second,
like
y'all.
I said, it's a positive thing within the community, and I'm so glad I'm a part of it.
From food to music to art.
Give me 1 second. I'm trying to
the
stop
event
it.
has it all to celebrate Black History Month.
The red is for the blood, the black is for the skin, and the green is for the land.
Okay, yeah. What's going on, RBG and Oni?
Man, what's up? What's up?
Nothing much, my brother.
Hey, what's good? What's good?
Nothing much. How you doing, brothers?
We cool. Oh, so you said something about dictators. Dictators. Okay, yeah. I mean, dictators like not the best word, but it's kind of like it's kind of like I guess Ibrahim right now in Burkina Faso. You know, if you had a good, intelligent leader, right? Like a good leader, established in better opinions, if you will, or learned and so forth, right? Then that's the kind of leader that you would want in running over the country. And so, one of the inspirations that we have is like ancient Egypt, right? And in ancient Egypt, you had this Nesut, this pharaoh. And I'm not going to say that they had, I don't know to what extent they had absolute power, what you will. But the idea is that you would have one leader, because at the end of the day, that's how life really is. You really do, like almost every situation you're into, you really do, like you really have to find a way to settle disputes. And you want a reasonable way to settle disputes. And so in ancient Egypt, what they would do is, if you were to be a leader, you had to study for 40 years. You had to study leadership for 40 years. And what I would say about that is that just makes you more qualified for leadership than the average person. So I don't know what, like, I mean, I don't usually use the word dictator myself personally. I think, honestly, we are really, every government is really run by oligarchies. And you really just want the oligarchy to be comprised of good people. But I don't know if you're contrasting dictatorship with democracy, or if you're contrasting dictatorship with oligarchies, But like, it's not really clear what's your objection to dictators? Like what's the alternative to dictators is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, well, yeah. When I say dictator, I'm saying like and first of all, Oni, shouts out to Oni in the building. And I appreciate you coming up here because I already knew Oni, you would definitely come up here. But with dictators, what like how I see dictators is one person that's in charge, you know what I'm saying? And like even if you have somebody that's in the face of that, I don't think that one person should have power, you know what I'm saying? There should be a balance, you know, based off of your society. I'm not even dictating it off anything. Like you can make up anything and have one person, because he could be like great or whatever. He could just be wrong, you know what I'm saying? And that one wrong thing that he's doing without like, okay, yeah, they'll be like, they have counsel and stuff like that, but they also appoint the council, you know what I'm saying? Like, there could be even people that listen to the people, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, when you making decisions, you know what I'm saying, like that, I don't think that one person should have all the power. And I don't think it should go through one thing. And even when he dies, you know what I'm saying, if you don't have a system that's in place or whatever, like or something like that, then you like, oh well, who's going to go next? Well, his son, like what is his son just going to be benevolent or dictator because he is, you know what I'm saying? But that's just some of the objections. I don't know if that made it easier, or I can or you can ask me something and I can make it like more specific if you want.
Yeah, like what is, like, are you saying you want a democracy? Like I mean, and where are we talking?
You said where are we talking? I'm
Yeah,
talking
you
about
mean like in Africa, like if you had an African city, or you
no.
talking about like an organization?
Well, it could be hell, we could be like, yo, we picked this place here and we're gonna donate all of our stuff to be like, this is the home base, and even though we live somewhere else, you know what I'm saying? A democracy, like I think that yes, the people like our people, when we talking about like, should have some sort of a say, but I would say like you would have like people who was like there to represent their people and make sure like it's up to the people's responsibility to represent, like to pick the right representatives that's really going
Like
to
a
speak.
republic?
I guess if that's what you want to call it. I, you know what I'm saying, I don't really, if I'm not
Like
saying the
America's
term
Senate, like America's Congress, something like that.
yeah, something like that, but yeah, I guess like it'd be like some like city council, but I would say that also like they can't just do something. Like the difference from them is like once they are elected, they can't just make a decision, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And certain issues, like it needs to go to the vote of the people. If it's like a split decision amongst the leaders, I don't think, that's why I don't think it should be one leader, you know what I'm saying? Like if it's something that we are divided on, it should be amongst, you know what I'm saying, like, okay, we're gonna put it out to the vote for the people to decide, something like that, you know what I'm saying? That's what I think.
Can I jump in?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I would say is that, I mean, if we're talking about like, you know, like in far as like how decisions are made, how the deliberative process is, I mean, usually if you have someone who is the paramount or ultimate, you know, head of whatever region or, you know what I'm saying, jurisdiction or whatnot, usually if that's the case, that person isn't really worried about the hamlet or town level. Like when we talk about democracy in America, it's only a democracy in this country is when back in the day they actually tried to make it democratized in the local levels back, you know what I'm saying? That's how them white folks was able to function out here. They tried to, you know what I'm saying, they try to have try to have that majority rule thing, because in essence what that whole majority rule is a representation of, well, if I bring more people to the fight than you, let's just say I won. You understand what I'm saying? Instead of saying that, like, let's say if you had two people versus one, if all bodies are the same or whatnot, well, two people will probably beat up the one. You know, yeah, I mean, if you have 30 people and someone has 29, it's just an idealistic saying that, well, if we bring more people to the fight, you know, let's just say that we won. That's what democracy winds up doing. It's not nothing to do with any kind of council or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? That's just the basic. And since, you know what I'm saying, these white folks' towns and stuff had enough representation and how they were going to do it, it's kind of easy when if all the little areas are doing democracy, then the big areas are going to do democracy too. That's how they were able to do that. The rules with the Senate and all that, because they were able to talk. But when you have power, how you would do it. If you want to be about it, you go and do it to your extent. I mean, as far as decisions, you gonna have you aren't really worried about that, because you gonna do what you're gonna do. If you build stuff and the people are happy, well, you build stuff and the people are happy. If you build stuff and people are upset, well, you'll have means that address that. I mean, because you're gonna do what you're gonna do, right? Because you're gonna do what you're gonna do. You might talk to the dude, that's your prerogative, because you in power. And it doesn't really worry about until further notice, indefinitely. Just cause that's how. I mean, it's to try to impose that upon any people around the world. Like, you would have to have democratic structures on a local level that kind of build up to it, and that doesn't, because African people don't really do it like that. We're not going to, the people who are in charge in relative local areas, you might have the strong man, you might have a couple people. It's different to have a couple people rule a large area. It winds up being that, if I have enough sway in a big enough area, shoot, I might as well have enough sway in the whole area. I don't need consultation. I got my people to do what they're going to do, because that's how I got power. And when we're talking about, democracy on a big level, like I said, it's not going to work if the smaller parts don't have it. I mean, if you're going to democratize Africa, you're going to have to, you don't have elders and people. I mean, and naturally, anytime you can have people have consensus, but sometimes you're in a group setting and 3 people are saying something that 6 people aren't, and frankly, the 3 people are right. And through trial and error, perhaps those 3 people wind up taking the lead, of the other 6, just cause I tried to tell you what it was, and we'll let it do whoop de whoop. That's just my perspective. I mean, y'all that's all.
Okay, I'm gonna let Oni go before I go, but I just want to say this real quick, and this is why I didn't want to say Republic and all of that stuff, because the first thing that, and don't take my trolling personal or nothing like that, I'm just messing with y'all, but that's the first thing, what I'm saying. The first thing y'all gonna think about is how white people do it. I don't think that white people is the first ones with what y'all would call quote unquote democratic, what I'm saying, or ideology, but I'm gonna let my brother Oni go before I go. But so go ahead, Oni.
Oh no, you can go. I mean, I was you can go.
All right, so yeah, well, all right. What I'm saying is, right, when you talking about that, right, even when you saying, first of all, you was like how they. I'm trying to put it all together, like everything you was saying, but when they have like, we use like they get over by power. That's the first thing, what I'm saying. Like, yeah, there's going to be people that have power, but then when you're saying like democratic and all of that stuff, like my thing is there should not be like one person that's just in charge of like who's running things. Like, maybe that's the way that they used to do it, but if you haven't noticed, like, we've lost an awful lot of battles and like wars and stuff like that. And my thing is like, when you had, because you like, oh well, they just let the people on a local level and all of that stuff, what I'm saying. But like at the end of the day, it's like this culture is whatever. They dictate the language you speak, the religions you follow, even on the local level, what I'm saying, and the overall level. Since y'all want to use their terminologies on a federal level, what I'm saying. Yeah, you have your state and local things, what I'm saying. But like I said, my thing is when it comes to that, right, you have more, you have less chances for mistakes than having this this one person who's making all the decisions. It's like, hell, what if this person just has a heart attack and kills over? What I'm saying? We just gonna be like, oh well, it's just whatever. That's how a lot of them stuff, whatever. And then like I probably wouldn't even trust myself to be like a dictator, because like they could be a good person, but like I said, what if they just make the wrong, like, oh yeah, well, we just gonna make this nation a Christian nation because we don't want to do whatever, what I'm saying. I'm making the best decision for my people to survive at the moment. So then 400 years later, now we all Christians and speaking whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's what they had a council of elders who they whatever. It should never be like one person. You know what I'm saying? That's my thing about dictators. I think you're asking for trouble. That's all I'm saying. But go ahead, Oni.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, it really comes back to, do you want somebody specialized in good government? You know, because I think that's actually one of the things that we lack in Africa are people specialized in good government. And I mean, I guess you said you never went to Africa, right? But the thing
No.
about the thing is that generally speaking, people are not, politically astute. You know what I mean? So, like, let's say, like you would be more politically astute than most people, right? Even like how you showed a lot of videos of black folk who just didn't get it. They outnumber you greatly. You get what I'm saying? So when you start saying, "Hey, look, let's make important decisions," really important decisions in the hands of the people who just don't get it, right? In that in that scenario, like you're setting yourself up for failure. You get what I'm saying? And like even more failure in the sense of like, let's say, as you point out, we're inside of some like isolated place, in Africa, right? The reality is this, that democracy, I mean, because you said, you don't think democracy came from white folk. I'm not gonna say it came from them, but credit goes to, like, a lot of people credit Solon, an ancient Greek guy, right? But here's the thing. Democracy as it stands today, right? It's because territories are so large, right? Like countries are so huge. You cannot possibly, as an individual, win an election um, without like serious money, right? Without serious access to the airwaves, serious access to the radios, serious access to the television, that sort of stuff. You can't win an election, right? And if you're running against somebody who has more resources, you will lose that election, right? 9 times out of 10. In fact, there's this guy, very intelligent guy, PLO Lumumba. He says he lost his election because he runs for, he's in Kenya. He runs for, office or whatever. I don't know what he ran for, but he ran for something. And he says the guy he lost it to showed up the day before and gave out rice. Just gave out rice. Just and this guy's, Phil Mumba's brilliant intellectual, has ideas of how to get good government, you know, is aware of what France is up to, so on and so forth. I don't know who the guy he ran against was, but let's just say in any scenario, any election, if France said, you know what, we want you to run, right? They'll just give, like, if they see that you're a democratic state, they see the vulnerability, right? And they will just give money to whoever they want to win. And it's not even like I'm saying something that's like fabricated or anything. Paul Kagame, I mean, people don't like him, people do like him, right? Well, Paul Kagame says, they asked him why doesn't he go into election, and he said, well, when he was discussing elections, like Americans asked him to do elections, they said, look, why don't you stop running, pretty much, and we have these guys lined up to be the next president of Rwanda, right? And he's like, well, if you're just going to select the next leader, right, then I'm not going to step down. But that's really the situation that you'll find yourself in any democracy, is that unless the people are very, very informed, and it's very impractical to get them informed because the infrastructure is not there, right? Unless the people are very, very informed, they're going to elect the person who has the most resources backing them, and that person is very possibly going to be a somebody backed up by the quote unquote Western capitalist system. You know what I mean? And we see this time and time again. Those dictators that we critique, the ones in Europe, the ones and so on and so forth. One of the reasons why, like they would have never won an election, right? They would have never became the leader of these countries off of an election. But if you look at who their predecessors were, right? They were people financed by the international, bourgeoisie, if you will. You get what I'm saying? So democracy, I mean, I don't know if you're talking about democracy, but democracy is a vulnerability. And so when you talk about a dictator, like you look at Ibrahim and all the good things he's doing in Burkina Faso, right? He would have never won an election. We would have never heard about him. He's the youngest leader in Africa right now. He's asking the right questions. Why does Africa have resources? Why is it broke? He's breaking ties with France. He's killing terrorists. He's killing terrorists on the border that are being financed by France and all that kind of stuff. He's escaping coups attempts. He's doing all this, but he's a qualified, great leader. Maybe he's not the best in your eyes, maybe he's not the best in somebody else's eyes, but he's a qualified leader, right? And the guy before him was a puppet. But if the guy before him ran an election again, the people, the masses, would have voted for the guy before him and not the more qualified guy who had to step in and step up. So I think that, especially with that guy, as an individual, and even like you say, like Thomas Sankara, you talk about, Kwame Nkrumah, all those kind of people, right? A lot of these people would not have won an election fair and square if not for the violence that they had to, do, the violence they had to effect in order to get into that position, right? And they were excellent leaders. They were qualified leaders. But there's the system of democracy, because of the need to have radio communications, the need to have things. You cannot. It's like we look at, even like, look at Nikki Haley, like you just saw, right? Or what have you. Or even just look at Nikki Haley. You forecast. You're a brilliant guy. Can you show up on the Breakfast Show, the Breakfast Club? No. Right? So if you were running for election, Nikki Haley's running for election, if you're running for election, could you go on the Breakfast Club? Could you go on CNN? Could you go on, whatever? And because you can't do these things, you could not, even if you're more qualified than, obviously more qualified than Nikki Haley, right? Obviously more qualified than Trump, obviously more qualified than Biden, because you cannot get access to this, this communication network, right? You will never win an election, right? So the whole idea of the dictatorship, and I'll just land my plane. The whole idea of the dictatorship, and I don't really use the word dictatorship. Like I said, everything's more of an oligarchy, but the whole idea of a dictatorship is, what if we can get a qualified leader the old-fashioned way? Because we're not getting qualified leaders in the democratic way. We are getting puppets, and the system is set up to get puppets. Biden is a puppet. Trump is a puppet. Nikki Haley is a puppet. Ramaswamy, whatever, is a puppet. Obama was a puppet. Bill Clinton was a puppet. All of these people are puppets for and let's get out of America. Sorry, I don't know the other places honestly, but all these people are puppets that are elected. And you go back to France, you go back to Burkina Faso, you go back to so on and so forth, and you got to say to yourself, well, what is a system that can work against that? And if you say, well, let's just let the people vote, the people are going to follow whatever the radio tells them. And the people who control the radio don't look like you or me, don't think like you or me, aren't you or me, and because of that, it's just a losing strategy. That's what I would say.
All right, let me say this, and then I'm gonna pass it to RBG, right? And first of all, I want to make it clear, right? I'm not talking about any current leader or anybody doing anything that they're doing right now. I'm only talking about the way of life, if you will. You know what I'm saying? The like, if you know what I'm saying? So I'm not, saying, oh, this brother is like, there's no hate to him, because some people may say negative things about him. I agree with Queenie Parcel, just by the way. Do I agree with having a dictator? I don't. Do I agree with them standing up? I absolutely do. And there are people that will have some negative to say. So I do have to say, what I'm saying? I'm not talking about. And one thing I do have to make clear also is that, like, see, when I saying this stuff, like, I get it, what I'm saying? We looking at it through the lens of America, what I'm saying? Through the lens of, like, of white people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, other people. I'm talking about the way that we do things with us. You know what I'm saying? Like one thing, like we make things over complicated all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not saying y'all, but like in conversations, the point of conversations is so that you understand people. You know what I'm saying? And I know that there are quote unquote complicated issues, but at the end of the day, it's like, can you protect your people? Can you feed your people? Can you give them the things that they need to have a regular society? I think that y'all underestimate people all the time. Am I saying that they have knowledge about? I don't have knowledge about ancient Egyptian history, or do they have knowledge about Black American history? No, I think they understand what's going on in their communities. Like, and I also think that, like, yeah, like when we look at the context of here in America, right? Like, especially since like really since the 80s till today, I think it's starting to wear off. You know what I'm saying? Their move with the whole integration thing, and then the crack epidemic that hit us, and so that we not thinking the right way. I think that more people is thinking, but these issues is not like, or like it's certain things that's like like certain issues may be complicated, like doing business or dealing with other countries. But when we talking about leaders in your local area, that's why I'm like, yo, we looking at it through the context of America. If we do that, look at your city council. This is what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like if you need the damn pothole in your damn street fixed or not, or should your money be allocated to this or allocated to that? I'm talking about how we're doing things as a community. I'm not saying whether we are right now or not. I'm not trying to disparage or encourage or say good or bad about any African or Black country or none of that. You know what I'm saying? But like, we overcomplicate things. The thing is, it's the people in the area getting it done for the people in the area. And who would know better than the damn people in that area? And then you would have those people in that area, you know what I'm saying, like representing the people in that area to like some kind of higher, you know, well, back then we would have tribes, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get it how they used to. I'm not saying how they did it was right or wrong. I'm saying we just updating our information now, you know what I'm saying? That's all, you know. And so like they used to do it, have it as tribe, like, and I don't have against having tribes. It's just the tribalism to where we can't get along except we accept other tribes like white people and Arabs in our tribes. But that's a whole nother thing. But what I'm saying is, like, then you have these leaders who's representing the people coming together, you know what I'm saying, making decisions collectively as whatever, you know what I'm saying, like, and making these tough decisions, you know what I'm saying. And listen, you know what I'm saying, a lot of these governments, you know what I'm saying, with these, because we could talk and we should talk about the good, you know what I'm saying, but we should also talk about the things that's bad, like how they would you know, do things so France could get back up in there, or certain leaders who would do certain things, or send their people over to Israel to go be immigrant workers, quote unquote, you know, or so-called, as Black people would say, so-called immigrant workers. Like, we can't ignore all of these things. And even if we found this damn benevolent dude, number one, he could be wrong. Number two, what you gonna do after he died? Then you're done, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's what I'm saying is, y'all, we looking at it as like, yo, even through the eyes of America or like Europeans. And I'm talking about us governing us, that the way we would talk about, like, that's why I don't like the term Marxism and capitalism and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we're gonna do business with each other, can I own my own damn business, or is the government gonna own my business? Make it simple so people are gonna understand instead of throwing these words in. But anyway, RBG, and then only, and then I'll go. So you guys something to say, RBG?
Yeah. Okay. I'm okay. Let me be mindful of. I can take what you're saying and try to, you know, use words and try to simplify it. There's nothing wrong with good analogies. I dig it. The thing is for to say we don't have an organic closed ecosystem as Black people in this country. It is not as if we grow up and we say, when we say community, we mean, you know, cities, villages, towns that we respectively live in, right? And in these villages, cities, towns that we live in, actually, I will, faithfully say that most of us don't live in an all black town. I mean, some of us may live in 90% black towns or cities or 80% or whatnot, but there's always that element. And in a big city with, that might be 75, 80% black, there's still a large number of white people in that town. So it's not so much, one or two. There's always this thing of we don't have a closed ecosystem. There's always this. It's not just us. It's not just us. I wish that I could say this in terms of us in 1500 Africa West Coast. You know what I'm saying? I really wish I had an idea of what our and I'm not saying that things have changed drastically, and that people, from people have not restored themselves from various neighboring cultures. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can see yourself in your neighbor, as it were. You know what I'm saying? You see a piece of yourself, you might be torn down. You're like, I see what you know what I'm saying? I kind of see what we were from, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause if you see what I'm saying. For us to build, to have the potholes and things like that, like, we can be ingenious about some things, like fixing a pothole. But when the whole road is broken, it's a different level. You know what I'm saying? It takes, rollers and things like that. I mean, not to say in the means of Africa, Africans in America having that sense that we can build a road that our cars that we obtain can go over with confidence. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to do a 90%-ish roll where it kind of bounces a little bit. That's not good enough. If you were to do that the first try, okay, in a couple months we'll straighten it out. But it couldn't be, there's things where this white man does things in a certain way that we can do, but we don't necessarily need the same thing, the same equipment, but our outcome and our results have to be similar or in fact superior, which we demonstrate in various arenas around the world and in endeavors that we can do things better than the white man can, cheaper, faster, whatnot. Sometimes, it's not as good. Sometimes it's better. It's better to be on the better side of better. If it's not as good, okay, don't beat yourself up, but we can always do better. This is where sometimes I think that it's not an even ground that we stand on as Black people in America. It's not so simple that we can just go to our elders that we've been doing for the past, time immemorial. It doesn't quite work like that. There's something where we have to have a reset while we're actually like, it's like, I don't know how to use an analogy. It's like we have to reset the game in the middle of playing it, and somehow have the game go through a screen where we're trying to reset while the game is actually going on, and we don't die. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what we have to do. Is crazy or is wily as that sounds. We have to reset the game in the middle of playing it. If we want to have roads, we're going to have. There's going to. It's. I really wish. This is also a function of time. And people have to have the time and the resources, enough of them to do, a many hands make light work under the cover of night type thing, where like just people somehow just make phone calls, get this equipment. Because I mean, it's not that, and when we talk about like repairing roads, that's, these white folks have companies, they get their money, they buy their own rollers. You know what I'm saying? A lot of places, the government doesn't fix the roads, private people do. So it's not impossible to do what I'm trying to say. It's just a matter of resource and ingenuity and all of that. In Black people, we have 10% of the resources, if that, and like 50% of the time. So it's a matter of either giving in or, doing the hard trial and error with minimal resources to do it and hoping for a eureka moment. That's what George Washington Carver did with, minimal stuff, making miracles, and got good at it too. That's all. I mean, we can do the things as far as like, collectively, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to have, like a parallel, in Nigeria, in the Southeast, what I'm saying, area, they have parallel governments where it's like, they don't trust, Nigeria. So they just have their own government alongside the official government. And I mean, Black people could do things like that. We just need Black city councils, but that would require people having time And you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things where it's like going back to media, going back to distraction of media. It's hard to like, I mean, to do it in such a way that, you know, people are truly dedicated. I mean, it can be done, but these are ideas and how you adapt to actually have to do it. They call them shadow governments. That's what they are. Parallel shadow governments. For real. I mean, they have shadow governments everywhere, though. I mean, it's just an idea of just doing parallel stuff. You know what I'm saying? If they have a governor, you have a governor. If they have someone, you have someone. You know what I'm saying? And just operate. You know, you might have 5% of the resources. All right, we're going to make sure someone's going to go out, make sure you're going to scrounge up something, make sure someone has something, and it's going to be okay. It was officially done by the people. You know what I'm saying? Thank you. Next task. You know what I'm saying? On a humble. And if that could be sustained on a shoestring budget, and it can, it just takes dedication. You know, things tend to accrete onto success. I'm pass.
I own it.
Yeah. So about the president. I mean, not the president. Yeah, no, I agree with you that, you know, we shouldn't be. Can you guys hear me? Sorry, I didn't realize.
Yeah. You kind of sound like you was like on speakerphone, but you good now though.
Yeah, I'm on speakerphone. I'm on speakerphone, but you know, yeah. So as far as yeah, I mean, I get I mean, on the local level, yeah, on a small level, but that's another thing too. It's like, if we're being honest, right? Not everybody wants to be bothered with political things. You know, I agree that, you know, fixing the roads or what have you, but even that, on a real sense, you know, isn't like, it couldn't really be accomplished in a quote unquote democratic situation. You know, like, I'll give you an example. Let's say, you know, the three of us, you know, we live in a city of 200 people, right? Now the street is cracked on our street. We all live on the same street, okay? The street is cracked on our street, but 200 people don't live on our street, right? So let's just say it's only the three of us living on that street. You know, whatever, for whatever reason, the crack is only really affecting us, right? 197 people don't give a shit. It's not their issue. You know? So we can come forward and say, hey, look, man, there's this crack on the floor, so on and so forth. Let's all vote. Should we put our resources toward the crack on the floor, or should we put our resources towards a better school? Everybody's going to say a better school if only three of us deal with the crack, right? And I'm not saying that three of us, you know, I'm not saying that the school is not as worse than the crack, but even if it was something small, like, can we throw a festival, you know, or like, can we throw a party, you know, or could we fix a hole in the floor? You know, 197 people, you know, even 100 people, 150 people will say, let's throw a party, because what's this crack got to do with anything, right? So one of the things you want in a government really is the centralization of ability, and not just that, or the centralization of information, centralization of ability, those sort of things, because because even the idea that, hey, you know, on a local level, like, it could work if it's just three of us, you know, three of us agreeing, you know, three of us, you know, we come together and we say, hey, look, it's just three of us, right? Let's just try to get a consensus, you know, or let's just go for majority between the three of us. And that could work on a small scale. But when you start talking about 200 people, 400 people, you know, you stop talking about a consensus, right? Which is, you know, everybody agreeing. You start talking about a majority, sure. But even when you're talking about a majority, you got to ask yourself, how many people really care about the issue in front of them? You know, how many people really care about road repair? You know, if I'm a fisherman, all I do is, you know, walk to the pond, you know, sit there for 12 hours, and I come home and fish. You know, I sell some fish in the market, and then I feed my children on fish and bread and rice or whatever, right? Good meal, right? Why am I suddenly telling this person, hey, look, you gotta have an opinion on nuclear proliferation? You know, like, you gotta have an opinion on the student exchange program with Israel. Why am I asking this person? And then of course, like you said, well, what about if we had people to elect into thing again? Why does this fisherman? Why does this? It doesn't have to be a fisherman. It can be a physicist. I when I was studying to be a physicist in university, my life involved me waking up, taking the train to my university, and then studying or working on my whatever for 4 or 5 hours, 8 hours, whatever, and then coming back on my train ride home, right? Uh, I mean, now granted, that was me, but generally speaking, does my political opinion is my political opinion equal to somebody closer to whatever the political situation is, somebody more informed on whatever the political situation is? Because, and again, like if you go to a large scale, now again, on a small scale, the road repair, that's one thing, right? Small scale, should the school have, play, dirty music? That's another thing, right? But on a large scale, right? And that's what we're really talking about, in a sense, on a large scale, if I'm just going to work, studying the stars, and then coming home, why is my opinion equally valid to somebody who's studying whatever whatever the circumstance is? Like if we're talking, like for instance, one of the things out of Ma'at's code was you can't, don't dam the rivers that don't dam the rivers unless there's permission. You know what I'm saying? Right? But as far as hydroelectric power stations, or even here's a more basic question: what is the purity level that should be uh, permitted, should be allowed in purified water from tap water, right? What is the on a microscopic scale? What how many impurities are allowed? How many cycles of purification should water go through? To what percent, right? That kind of a question. What I don't have any idea, and I don't see why my opinion should be held as equal to somebody who does have an idea about micro impurities in water. You know, and so just as I can, I like, again, like I said, I studied physics, so just as I can say, hey, look, my opinion on physics is a little more valid. Is not a little more. Is pretty valid relative to
Nah,
somebody
go
who.
ahead, start on that. So only it's hella valid.
No, I'm just saying. It's like I say, my opinion on physics is pretty valid compared to somebody who hasn't studied. One of them nutcases, right? Um, I would say, yeah, I think it's very possible that somebody can be more studied in government than me, and that they can have a better idea in terms of what policies to enact. And I guess the best example, now that I think about it, the best example that I could think about is Hannibal. Okay, Hannibal was a military genius, right? And so, I don't know if you obviously don't say that. You never said that generals should, you don't think war should be run by generals or something like that. Although I do want to I do want to remind people that,
Hey, said that
technically,
last. You said that last sentence again. I don't think war should be what.
generals should be, you know, chosen democratically or something. I don't know. I mean, not chosen democratically, but um, like a war should be fought like from a like citizens voting on a large scale on how to enact the battle. But what I'm saying is this: that's actually a good example, especially because at least in the West, I mean, it might be, and even inside of Africa, as far as I can tell, the president, if you will, is the as they call him, the commander in chief, right? So the head general, over all the generals, is technically Biden, right? That's why Biden could just bomb wherever he wants, right? But the idea is this: that Hannibal was a genius when it came to war, and not because he was born like that, you know but he studied it. He studied it. He studied his father. His father was a general. His father passed down some knowledge, so on and so forth. You want people who are good at what they do, who are informed and intelligent to in their capacity to be in that position. And I mean, obviously, dictator does not imply that the person who is uh, uh, who gets to that position is informed or whatever. But one thing that you can say about dictators is that they have the passion for it. That they have the actual passion for it. Now, see, you don't have the passion for it. You're like, I don't like dictators, right?
Well,
But
I am the dictator.
I mean, if you don't have the passion for it, I don't know if you get it, if you so on and so forth. But a lot of people who get to that position have that passion. They have some sort of political vision. Usually, they're not necessarily some randos, like just some random person who wakes up and so on and so forth. Usually, as far as I can remember, they have some sort of political philosophy that a lot of people broadly agree with, or a significant number of people broadly agree with. And that said, and that philosophy might just be better than the prevailing philosophy, you know. And so, a lot of people think about the fascists, but the fascists, they had their ideas in terms of how to move their countries forward, as opposed to what happened. And a lot of the dictators that, I mean, I don't know all the dictators, but a lot of the bigger scale dictators, they did advance their countries, um, particularly compared to their predecessors, you know. And two of the more notable examples are obviously your favorite socialists, Mao and Stalin, who again, they weren't always right, obviously, but where China was before Mao and where Russia was before Stalin, um, like they really did bring their people up, you know. I mean, obviously, I don't know who you would call a dictator in Africa. I don't know if you call Thomas Sankara a dictator. I think some people call Thomas. I think you did call Thomas Sankara a dictator, but
No, I never said none. I never said him.
oh,
I
not
never
him.
had an
Somebody
opinion about him.
called Thomas Sankara a dictator, but Thomas Sankara would technically be qualified as a dictator. Julius Nyerere, again, Kwame Nkrumah, a lot of these people who were really, really good for their countries. I mean, it depends on how you look at it, but a lot of them could have qualified as dictators in a sense. Lumumba, although Lumumba won his election, but uh, but I mean, again, and actually, I'll be honest with you, Lumumba's loss, like Lumumba won the election, and he pretty much died for it for democracy. Okay, uh, and that's kind of like what's the issue with regard to going by the vote as opposed to going by who's a better candidate, because Lumumba was the better candidate. He won the election. I guess Kwame Nkrumah inspired him to concede some power to his opponent, and his opponent killed him. You know what I mean? So it's like uh, if he were a dictator, Lumumba would have survived, and Lumumba was. I mean, obviously, he said some stuff that were kind of like, suspect, but Lumumba was much better than the guy after him, who was essentially the elected, I guess, president. You know, Lumumba was the prime minister, he was the president, and the president took over power because the president has more power. Um, but yeah, that kind of that kind of system, I feel like it had its recurring flaws in Africa. But mainly my takeaway is, like you said, sure, he could be wrong, but it's like if the person with the most information can be wrong, um then it's possible that it was just it was hard to know what the right thing was, you know. That's my takeaway. And as far as, oh yeah, you said, what about somebody after them? um I would say, again, I think that you want to, like, again, I'm not a dictator at this moment, right? So um I think that you you want to have a situation where people can like can advance in their communities type thing, but there's no guarantee, you know. I'll just say it that way. I mean, sorry, I think there's a system that you can enact where sure, it might be your son, but where your son is a qualified leader after you, or somebody else who you'd want to pass the thing down to. But that's a common issue uh for people all along. Like, even if you say, I mean, 'cause I know you said don't talk about America, but even when it came to like Obama, right? A lot of people liked Obama. I know you don't like Obama, but a lot of people liked Obama. There was no successor for Obama. You know what I mean? Like, there was no successor for Obama. How do you follow up on Obama? And so, they just put him for Hillary Clinton, right? And Trump won, But it's like every system will have I mean, not every system, but uh, a lot of people do not consider a successor. And I could say for this, in fact, I was in an organization with Alton H. Maddox Jr., and he kept saying he wanted a successor. And it goes back to the whole democratic thing. I thought I was, I was pretty intelligent back then. I could have never won over the people for the successorship. And so what happened to that organization is that it faded away. And he kept saying, hey, I want a successor. But realistically, you want to have a training program in place for a successor. And usually, especially if you're talking about traditional Africa, like, usually they would have programs in place for the successor. So like, for instance, ancient Egypt, we go back to, they had their regents, and they had their their king, pharaohs, and so on and so forth. They had their that kind of stuff. So I think that I think that, yeah, as far as the successor question, nobody, like, a lot of people do not do that in this day and age. But in a perfect system, in a perfect dictatorship, if you will, or even if you go back to, like, if you consider ancient Egypt a dictatorship, right? In that sort of situation, there was a succession line that was pretty damn successful. Like ancient Egypt, according to their own records, go back 9,000 years. Okay, so these are people who were doing something right. Did they survive till today? No, right? But like, nobody survived 9,000 years, like, nobody else. So it's a really long lifespan for that kingdom, in a sense.
Yeah. All right. So, first of all, let me say this. I'm glad that y'all came on here and this became the discussion, because what I was saying, it could have went any way, and anybody could have came on here, and this was much more intellectual, if you will. You know what I'm saying? So, I definitely appreciate that. And only, what I'm saying, unlike Bakari, who judges people for not having scholarships from HBCUs, you know what I'm saying? You're not gonna judge me, my brother, and you will have, as a what I'm saying, as what you do, you know what I'm saying, and you would have this conversation and not be like, oh, you ain't got no degree, so I can't. You ain't never been to no, like Bakari be doing. But nah, my bad.
Oh, I didn't know you didn't have a degree. My bad. I got that.
You gonna leave us? Well, yeah, no, I'm just joking. I take that. I'm sorry, Bakari, because Bakari ain't here to defend himself. But look, I'll say this, because y'all said a lot of stuff, right? And so, like I said, I appreciate what y'all said, right? So that's out the way, And I'm also glad that it was this way, because I probably could have said something disrespectful today, and I'm glad I didn't have to do that, because my brother is definitely smart. So, but yeah, like, when you, like, first of all, like, dying for, like, democracy, like, we die for, like, everything, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't matter which way that you pick it, until you are doing what you're going to do, you're going to be dying for democracy. But like you also said, why does your opinion matter? Because they're also taking your tax money, aren't you? That you're paying for the certain things, your tax money. Yeah, physics is definitely important, my brother. Like, how else we going to be able to, like, put satellites and create? I like chemistry because it's like, I'm not good at it, but you blow stuff up. You know what I'm saying? But physics is a part of that. But that's a lot of stuff that people like you is needed. But that's neither here nor there, you know what I'm saying? But your opinion is just as valid. You paying damn taxes, you know what I'm saying? They're taking your damn tax. I'm pretty sure you have because y'all said fixing the roads, like I lost count after like 42, you know what I'm saying? Y'all said and that was just an example. The first thing I thought off of coming to, but you know what I think that people do know is they're using their damn tax money to make sure that the immigrants got a place to stay, or taking their damn community center away, you know what I'm saying? So like, even when y'all bringing up the stuff, and just like the people in the community have a sense of what's going on in the community. It don't got to be deeper than what, oh yeah, we don't understand this, and the people in the area understand, because it's not just about fixing the roads, it's about having a pulse on the life. That's the whole purpose that people had local stuff, you know what I'm saying? I get that we talk like what y'all talking about, but like, first of all, you're gonna have to control your own, build the stuff in your own neighborhoods and all of that stuff. But yeah, your opinion matters just as much, because guess what, you probably paying more taxes in America, but I'm saying based off of us being fair with each other, you're paying just as much taxes, so your opinion as a citizen matters just as much as anybody else, you know what I'm saying? Like, and if and not saying that just because you say so, would be a dictator. You would be the damn dictator at that point, you know what I'm saying? Like, and again, like, we're talking about solving a problem that has never existed. So yeah, I can appreciate like stuff, but like what we're dealing with is a form of disunity like we've never had before, even within our own countries. And I not going to bring it up like that, but like, you know, we look at the good things that like democracy has, but you know, it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? Like, and the thing is, like, of course it's going to be hard to do. Like, if it's hard, you know what I'm saying, to be able to control your communities. That's the thing. Of course it's going to be hard, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, because I could go on what y'all saying, but like, he was like, because there's a couple questions I can ask y'all. You like, oh, we don't have a closed off ecosystem. Do you think, like, my question would be, do you think it's because of certain moves that dictators may have done in the past? Like, yo, it's blasphemous for me to say this, because I could never like feel her shoes or anything like that. But like how Queen and Zinga was like, yo, she felt like accepting Christianity would help her. Like, not that she meant it, or it was for her people's safety, but we would see like later on today. I'm like, because I could be like, yo, me and Bukhari had a yo, hold on, let me say this first, right? Because you was like, the thing is, because when you like, yo, like you have to make sure that you have in the right general to make the decisions when you're in the situation, or the right person to appoint the general, you know what I'm saying? Not the person who we have seen historically, you know what I'm saying, that has, you know, not worked out for us in that kind of way, you know what I'm saying? But my thing is like, because me and Bakari had a argument or a debate about Shaka Zulu, because you know, I never like really ever talked about Shaka Zulu, because I never agreed with everything that he did. Was he a great a veteran? Was he a person who could see in the future? But I don't agree with everything that he did, you know what I'm saying? Like with certain tactics that he used, you know what I'm saying? And my thing is like, if so, because y'all keep saying like in the situation, and I get it, the situation we in. So if Shaka Zulu come up like, yo, Islam is the way, get down and lay down, I'm the richest man ever in history, get down and lay down, you know what I'm saying? Because we going to go fight for them, so we gonna make y'all dominant, you know what I'm saying? Do y'all think that that's like better or something like that? Because when we talking about dictatorship, you know what I'm saying, it is like one person making the decision. I just disagree with that. Like, even if you be like council or something like that, you know what I'm saying, I would be much more comfortable with that. But like I said, like, you like, we right now, we could nominate the most successful people in our community who we feel like represent us. If we want to vote for some right now, like instead of elections, we could vote for the most successful Black business people to nominate or to strictly help grow Black businesses, and we fund that as a people. Or you got we can send $5 in. We can all do that stuff right now. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I don't want to make it like I don't want to add like I didn't want to add the demo. We can if you want to. You can say whatever you want to, you know. But when we think of these terms, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about like not making the same mistakes, because like I said, like what if your dictator tell you that, you know, we just going to accept Islam for so we don't have to lay down, you know what I'm saying? We just gonna get down, you know what I mean? But we're doing this for the betterment of our people. Like I think that people have more. I think that y'all underestimate people when it comes to. People may not have knowledge about Black history, but I think they know about what's going on in their communities, like when it comes to their jobs and their situations personally. And I think that actually more Black people than y'all give credit are aware of circumstances, because the internet today gives more people way more knowledge to get into way more things, and way more people have way more knowledge. But I'm gonna let y'all respond to that, and then after that we
can I? Yeah, just a couple of points. Like the thing is, there is a lot more knowledge, but there's also a lot more disinformation. I mean, when you talk about things being spooked out, forecast, you do, and you know what I'm saying. A lot of the things that we did in response, you know what I'm saying, to I'm saying bondage. You know what I'm saying. A lot of mumbo jumbo, a lot of things that do not make sense, but they did bring us together for better or worse, right? The idea that, oh geez, I done lost my point. That our people don't know what's going on. They know what's. I mean, it's hard to say that we do know what's going on in our relative. Even, I mean, I can tell you, like, I have an idea what's going on. I mean, you can go to for most smaller towns. I mean, if we're talking about a big city, it's different. I mean, you're talking about in New York, the people might not know everything that's going on in New York. They might live there their whole lives and not really know what's really going on in New York City, and on some what you would hope that they would know about type stuff. It's amazing how many people from other towns know what's going on in other towns. It's an unsettling reality that we live in. You know what I'm saying? That we you know what I'm saying, that we have to have this kind of sense of the myopia that does exist in our relative locations. We do know a lot of some things that's going on in our locations, but we don't know a lot of other things. We don't know. We tend not to know until it's too late about development plans, and if you know what I'm saying. That's just one thing. I do worry that we do get more bad information, in that we are not really aware, or we take credence to just municipal stuff that's civics, hard civics, day-to-day civics, about, you know what I'm saying, what's going on in our relative, you know, cities, counties, states. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that, you know what I'm saying, we have entertainers, we do, I mean, people are going to find themselves relaxing and doing what they do to relax, and they're gonna, you know what I'm saying, laugh. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna laugh. It might be wholesome laughs. It might be more, you know, cynical laughter or whatnot. But people are going to laugh. They're going to relieve themselves. And I mean, how scientific and how precise we are about what we do about our entertainment. That's hard. I mean, there's 50 million Black people in this country. What winds up happening is that the people that we wind up getting, you know what I'm saying, 1 million, 2 million of us to kind of like get a peep about here, there, and there. Otherwise, it's what it is. People sing beautiful music, and a lot of us will hear it. I mean, if lyrics aside, the music itself. We have sisters out here who can sing, and it's just heart melting the way the tones that come out of the you know what I'm saying, out of their mouths. Oh my goodness! But then again, I can then and then I'll hear the lyrics, something like, oh my goodness, like that's a terrible song. You know what I'm saying? It's like little things like that. It's like I try to weigh out the good and the bad. It's like there's things that we can do. It's just sometimes it's not big changes. It's like knowing that there's a lot of irregularity in any given day, because there might be a lot of small little adjustments that people can make, but sometimes you gotta make a big leap or a relatively larger leap, and sometimes you just can't do it by yourself. You might need to build devices with other people to help. You know what I'm saying? That's how you get community and all that. It's a matter of, you know what I'm saying, not being too comfortable. In that's the thing. Black people are too comfortable in this country. That's a hard thing to say, because we deserve our own comfort, because we're being attacked. You know what I'm saying? Because we're being attacked psychologically and all that. And we try to find comfort. But sometimes we have to exercise a bit of discipline about how comfortable we get. I see a lot of stuff on the internet that I think Black people get comfortable about. Trolls and, all this cyber stuff. You know what I'm saying? AI, we comfortable about it. We're going to use GPT. Who is GPT? Who makes money off GPT? Is it Black people? Or are we just going to give them our information, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? All the ways that even on the internet we just give consent through like backhanded stuff that we in good sensibilities we would not allow ourselves to give consent to type stuff. It's wickedness, and people are fighting against it in the sense of justice. But who's to say that's going to pan out? So that's just one thing. I have guarded optimism about people. It's a slow thing, and you know what I'm saying? It's an irregular progress. There are some steps backwards in some cases, and I do look at them. But when you look at the steps forward, I mean, there are genuine steps forward. I'm a yield for now.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. Oni.
Yeah. So just to go back to, I mean, I think what RBG was saying too about popular entertainment, that was something I wanted to bring up too. You kind of see how easily people can be manipulated, and it kind of reminds me that like I want to be optimistic, but observing people on a mass scale, I got to be realistic. I think it was before COVID, but you probably I don't know if you remember or if you saw this, but a lot of Black people were just not just Black, well, mostly Black people were just crawling up on crates and falling and like breaking their body parts. I haven't seen a milk crate since then. You know what I'm saying? But somehow, I don't know, I don't understand it. It was viral for people to just walk up on milk crates and risk their lives. That's the masses, and I have nothing against the masses per se. I mean, I'm part of the masses, obviously.
Hey,
but
Oni, can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah. Oh, did I walk up the crate? Yeah, I made it to them.
Yeah, I was really good. Yeah, that's what. I was gonna ask you. Do you know anybody who actually did it?
Oh, do I know anybody who did it? Nah, but I don't know.
Most of us don't know people who actually did it. Like, is it a mass thing? Because I never met nobody who did no damage. I saw more people against it than.
I can't say I saw anyone do it personally myself.
Yeah, I have never seen anybody do that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people doing it though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
who was doing it? That's what I said. That's my thing.
People are recording themselves doing it. You know what I mean? But like my thing is that I don't really know too many people regardless. So it's like, like I can say I don't know if anybody having sex. You know what I'm saying? like real talk. But
nah, you've heard dudes have told you like, yo, only this one joint that came through. I ain't gonna go into all that. But yeah, my bad. Go ahead, finish it.
I don't know why you told me about his sex life, but but no, I mean I'm kind of like, I'm a little more secluded. But yeah, no, I'm pretty sure people were doing it. It's just I mean, obviously I'm not in that circle, but like, I mean, I don't know if it was a lot of people, but a lot of people do it. It's kind of like TikTok or Instagram, I actually did meet an Instagram model. She was nice. But anyway, that's another story. But yeah, as far as like, it's like it even goes back to like, for instance, Sexy Red. Like I don't know anybody who listens to Sexy Red personally.
right? But does that mean nobody listens to Sexy Red? Or like, I don't know, anybody listens to Whitney Houston or goes to Whitney Houston concert back in the day? Does that mean no? No, of course. So I think to some extent, we have to like when it comes to like Sexy Red, which is an example, right? We have to, come to terms with there's like it's very likely that at least in America, well, not just in America, very likely everywhere, really, that the positive, well-rounded, as they call them, race man, is very, 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 very outnumbered. Even in Africa, if you talk about okay, you said not the president, but yeah, but like even when we discuss like the leaders in Africa, it's like how probable is it that that the leader is not better than that, like above average? You know what I mean? It's kind of like somebody said, "Hey, think about think about like the person of the average intelligence, and recognize that half the people are dumber than him. Like dumber than that person, right?" And I'm not saying that I'm not saying that there are people like I don't really believe in intelligence variations. I don't say anybody's more intelligent or less intelligent, but I do say
I was about to
that.
say, who is this W.E. Du Bois out there?
You said what?
I was about to say, who is this W.E. Du Bois out there? No, I'm joking.
Who's W.E. Du Bois? I know. What do you mean W.E. Du Bois? You mean what were you talking about?
Oh, well, you was like saying, "Oh, never mind. That's a bad joke." I'm sorry.
Oh, that quote? I don't know. I think it was some white boy, honestly. Maybe like George Carl, like that white comedian. I don't know his name. George Carlson or something. You know what I'm talking about?
George Carlin.
Some white boy. I don't know. He got like a white beard and
a comedian.
Yeah, like an old man. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know his name though, but yeah. So So I mean, like, but I'm saying that like for instance, when Zynga takes Christianity, right? I can't say that the majority wouldn't have, or maybe the majority wouldn't have. I don't know. But why Nzinga's doing it, there's a higher strategy involved. And I mean, I would like personally, I would have to concede that, hey, you know what she's doing has a bigger strategic value than like not doing it. Possibly. Now again, like you said, could she be wrong? Sure. Or like you said, Shaka Zulu could come by us and he could say, hey, you guys, it's time to, bow to Islam. Right? Now, obviously, I'm not saying I agree with that, but, one of the things about like the leadership position is that it's not really that straightforward. And yes, somebody could be wrong, but that's okay. In traditional Africa, usually they would say, like in traditional Africa, they were like, hey, you should have a leader. And you should be able to because you want somebody that you can critique for things going wrong. You know what I mean? You want somebody. They said it's the leader who spit on back then, right? And I get what you're saying also. Like the dictator doesn't get spit on. You cut those everybody's ass. That's possible. Like why would you spit on the dictator? But I think that honestly. If it comes to it that somebody is wrong, right? That's okay. You know what I mean? It's okay because the thing is that we're humans, we're imperfect, and usually, usually you want somebody who has a greater vision, and usually. This person would try to be amenable to most people, so usually yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like the dictator position really has to do with this individual who essentially can't be bought. You know what I mean? Like that's the objective. You want somebody who can't be bought. That's somebody who more so cares about ideas than money, right?
And you don't get that in most other economic systems. I'm sorry, political systems. You don't get that in most other political systems. What you get is, particularly like in a democracy or something, or a republic, if even, you get people who are bought. And that's the big difference. And so even when you say like, hey, we pay taxes, blah blah blah, right? A lot of times, the pay taxes thing, that goes back to, hey, you know what, we bought you. And you might say, well, on a mass level, so on and so forth. Realistically, I mean, some studies, not studies, but some statistics show that a lot of times it's the wealthy people who are paying the most taxes. Or like per person. Like they're taking loopholes, but individually, they're paying more taxes than most of us. You know what I mean? So on a percent wise, like say, let's go to Bill Gates or something, and obviously this is America again, but let's say Bill Gates, like he's probably paying $100 million in taxes or something like that, right? Now you might say, well, look, he earned $100 billion or some shit, and I'm just making up numbers, right? But did I earn? Did I pay $100 million in taxes? No. You know what I'm saying? Like I haven't made $100 million in 5 lifetimes. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is that if you were to go by, hey, he pays taxes, right? You would go by whatever Bill Gates wants. You get what I'm saying? And you go by whatever the other Warren Buffett wants or whomever. And when you start doing that, right, as a leader, no, their pothole is not going to be fixed because the taxes I pay and the taxes that RBG pays and the taxes that you pay, right, just don't add up to what the taxes somebody else is paying. The billionaires are paying. On an individual level, 3 of us versus them, no, it doesn't. Right now, you could say, well, 5,000 of us, 10,000 of us, sure, but again, who is organized? And if you were a politician running for re-election, who is more important to meet? The guy who could put $10 million on your election campaign, re-election campaign, or the guy who can put $10 on your election campaign? And let's be frank, I don't get, as far as I can tell, none of us give to any of these politicians, right, for the re-election campaign. So it really comes back to, well, look, you could buy a representative. You could buy a representative. And time again, we've seen Americans, I mean, not just Americans, but on the local level, like, because even my local senator, you could tell how much money they put into the campaign finances, like how much money they put into their campaigns. A lot of times, not even that much money. Like, I think the person who won the local election here in New York, she put down, she had spent like I think $400,000 maybe, which is not a lot of money, or it might have been $40,000, but it could be $400,000. But it's not a lot of money, but it's not money that I have. You know what I mean? It's not money I have. It's probably not money she had. So all of a sudden, the system biases those with resources, as opposed to the dictator who will not only have resources, right, but they can't be bought because they already have resources. Like you talk about Xi Jinping, or you talk about Putin, right? Can the Americans buy them? No. And because the Americans can't buy them, they can do what they're in the interest of their country. Now, you could say, hey, can they be wrong? Absolutely. There's a famous incident where Mao was wrong. Absolutely. But like, who can't be wrong? And it's like, if the idea is that a great number of people, like a million people together collectively can't be wrong, that's just not true. And the worst part about it is that, obviously, I hope we're not really talking about America, but if we were talking about America, right, we're the minority. So majority rule in this situation
would just completely exclude us. Like we're the minority financially, and we're the minority physically, population wise. Fast forward now, if you say in Africa, we would be the majority, obviously. But even so, it's just not really evident that a great number of people will be altogether informed. And again, to get that information out is going to cost resources, and you don't have those resources at present. And what's going to happen is that disinformation is going to get out, like what RBG was saying. And if those disinformation gets out, that disinformation, the people with the resources are going to win any and every election because they can put out disinformation, and that's it. That's what I'm saying. Oh, it is getting late, Loki.
Yeah. I was about to say because I want to say this, and then I'm gonna let y'all have y'all last statements, so y'all can say everything y'all want to say, and then y'all last statements. And yeah, definitely, I appreciate it, Rob, for coming through, and I appreciate y'all for coming through. So I'll say this, you know what I'm saying, and you're talking about excluded, you know what I'm saying. I don't know, like we are, if speaking of America, you're already excluded. We're talking about, as Black people say, so-called DEI. You know what I'm saying, and arguing about that. The first Black person for Harvard just got kicked out of there. So you know what I'm saying. Yeah, that's still. I mean, we can say no justice, no peace. But I'll say this. The only purpose is, hold on. What is it? It's like if you talk about voting in America, right? You have to back your people. I agree with you on that point 100%. So let me say that first because I agree with you. You back your people 100. Like that's the only purpose. Like is to have representation when they be like, yo, they for die for you to vote. This is for representation. And the only way to do that is to like put them in there if that's the system that you want to take. You know what I'm saying? And I would say to do that, but we also need to be putting, if we need like people to walk around the areas to give them, or teachers, let's just say teachers. We know we need more Black teachers, so we would donate to that. And I agree with that point. 100%. And then as far as the taxes, right? And then that argument that you made is like, is like saying, if I had $10 and then they taxed me $1, and then somebody made $100 and they taxed me $10, is that fair? You know what I'm saying? Like, now I don't think that they actually tax the rich people because they're the ones who's doing the lobbying and donating and all that stuff. When it comes, they're the ones who's buying the candidates, with their money, with their system. You know what I'm saying? But that's why I wanted to separate it, to have, I know you can't separate it, so that's why I'm not going like trip or nothing. But like, when I say dictatorship, I'm talking about like us doing our own thing and like conversations about like, how we control it. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't gonna front, like when you say like you pay taxes, like, so I don't care if you take $1 from me, bro. Like if you're taking my tax money and not even listening to what I got to say, like you only asking for trouble. Like I don't care how much it is, bro. Like, and that's my thing. And you don't think parents know the school, because that's where your tax money goes, is to like because you also pay local taxes, you know what I'm saying? And it goes, I know the schools I went to wasn't getting a lot of that money because it's Richmond public schools, but they could give it to like the schools that's like 95% white as opposed to us. And then the county schools, they get computers and stuff because that's where a lot of the white kids go to. You know what I'm saying? Like all of that stuff goes to, because and I don't know why Black people are still on that trickle down government on any level at any point. You know what I'm saying? So, and then yeah, I talked about, because like, with the, like, I've never went through, like, drove through or went through, like, or visited none of my people and seen Black people doing like the crate challenge. So like, to y'all point, I do think that there's a lot of misinformation, but I think we sleep on how powerful of a tool it could be used as the internet for you to be able to do certain things, because like, hell, they organize playing Call of Duty, talking about I'm gonna do this and do that. You know what I'm saying? Hell, we having this conversation, which I think is positive because I think young people listen and they can see something positive. You know what I'm saying? But
hey, can I make a small thing? The internet's only like 20 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like in another 20 years, we might actually get it right. You know what I'm saying? It's brand new. You know what I'm saying? All things considering, the internet, our great if our great ancestors had the internet, game over. And we're making leaps and bounds. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? So I like I said, I have mixed optimism about the future. I'm gonna let go.
But that's my point. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, cause yeah, there's a lot of quote unquote. It's you know what they had newspapers spreading disinformation and night. It was worse before the internet spreading because they controlled what came out and was nothing but disinformation. They will always be disinformation. But if you got some there that has ability to have more of the correct how to cook something or how to like do the proper thing or how to change something properly, yo, that stuff is powerful. It's just using it the right way, and that power is there for you. You know what I'm saying? But not to make it long, so let me say this. Because y'all was talking about yeah, so yeah, the internet and stuff like that. And then yeah, and then when it comes to the people like yeah, they may not notice that. I think they're gonna notice like when there's when they go to the grocery store and like you know what I'm saying the food costs more than they can afford. I think they'll notice when it affects their cost of living because at the end of the day, that's what the politics is supposed to be about. How to make sure not all of this complicated stuff. Like it's supposed to be about protecting your people. They're supposed to like not have to worry about all of that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like where they can make decisions about what goes on in their own community. It doesn't happen. And that's why I asked y'all the question, you know what I'm saying? Do you think that maybe this you know monotheistic mindset, you know what I'm saying, that we seem to have where we get spooked out, where we need one savior to come and tell us how to use the bathroom? Because apparently I know Oni is a physicist, but he still needs somebody to tell him how to. Bakari knows everything, but he needs somebody to tell him how to use the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, like, come on, like that's what I'm saying. Like, we need a dictator to sit there and tell you every single thing, or you don't have no faith in people at all. They don't have to know Egyptian history to know, you know what I'm saying, whatever. And also on top of that, do you think that's probably how your school systems got corrupted? Was the corrupt leaders that's in the dictator positions in the first place, or how the Biafra wars or whatever wars you want to name started because of corrupt dictators? You know what I'm saying? Like that, and yeah, that could be benevolent. So let's talk about even just the benevolent leaders. You know what I'm saying? Like again, like what happens when they die? Like that's a whole nother problem. But no, forget that for now because that's a whole nother conversation. But like, sure but like what Nzinga was doing was definitely for the cause and for the right thing. But you know what I'm saying? Like it leads to now black people arguing with each other about why Jesus was a Muslim or not. You know what I'm saying? And is the same whatever. But I can't blame that because we always been spooked out, which also leads me to be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do we need to update some of the information that led us to so we can solve a problem that's, by the way, nobody has ever solved before? They may have could have solved it, but they didn't have this problem. Maybe they didn't have this problem because they wasn't so spooked out like we think they were. Maybe they were smarter than we thought they were, and they and the society was able to speak, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't just one person. Maybe they didn't have like a deity, was just some one man, you know what I'm saying, like Europeans do, telling everybody what to do. Even their deities had a man and a woman counterpart, you know what I'm saying? Even if you go back to, and I wouldn't get into a debate with that kind of stuff because I don't know. Maybe our attentions should be aimed in a different way. But I want y'all to sum up all of y'all thoughts with that and also answer this question first. If Shaka Zulu, no, if Mansa Musa, because he had a powerful army, you know what I'm saying? He was like, get down, lay down, Muslims. We're gonna free you from quote unquote or so-called white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? Is you getting down, or are you gonna have to lay down? RBG.
Well, I'm not gonna ride with Monster Roost. I can't do it. I mean,
No way.
hindsight.
I know you ain't talking like he's a dictator, bro. We good if we under him. They ain't coming because the Muslims got us, bro.
I mean, well, I mean, you gotta, you know what I'm saying, scurry away and you know what I'm saying, do little skirmish attacks. I mean, I'm not going, you know, I'm not on that type of time. That's just my answer. I mean, gotta give up some resistance if you don't want, you know what I'm saying, if you don't want the evil empire, you know what I'm saying, to rule forever, you gotta keep on chipping away at it. You know what I'm saying? But I think that as far as like, you know, leadership, I mean, you have Pharaoh. I mean, Pharaoh is a singular leader. And I mean, that's a monarchy. I think that if you are a good leader and you lead for 20 years or whatnot, and your son takes over, and then his son takes over, and you have a lineage going on for a while. Oh, I mean, look, ultimately, monarchy has been proven to be the most, I guess, historically, the most stable. I think Oni mentioned this. It's like stable to have monarchies. And I mean, unless, you know what I'm saying? When you talk about Ramses, I mean, back in the day, our Pharaoh, you know, was out there at the lead. If you are the man and you fight and you are at the lead, who gonna tell you what? And why would they knock you down? That's a bitch move. And everyone in history will record that. Even if you try to scrub it out. There's too much human, you know what I'm saying? People don't like to say human, you know, just the people sensibility that if you are a group of people who's on the outs on some betrayal stuff, they're going to tell their story. This is why the King's List, you know what I'm saying? They scrubbed out the names because, you know what I'm saying? But other people had the names because for whatever reason people recorded, you know what I'm saying? That, you know, people, and the thing is, the downside of the whole monarchy thing is that, you know, everyone else wants to crown. So unless you have your kingsmen with you, I mean, because like every king, you know, winds up being a prince, a young boy, and those boys, that young boy is going to have to talk to other young boys, and those other young boys are going to toughen him up, but not too much because he's the king. You can't really hurt him. You know what I'm saying? But you're going to toughen him up. You know what I'm saying? You don't get him right. Because, I mean, if you're going to rule me, boy, I'm going to make sure that you strong. Because, you know what I'm saying? We in this together, right? And so when you king and I'm out here running business like I'm supposed to, we're going to make sure that everything's good. That's how, in reality, it works. Because it's not so much you're just too isolated from the people. If you're a little king boy, you're going to run around with other boys because that's what boys do. And at some point, you'll have to separate and be a little different. But if you about it, you always going to keep them connections. That's how people do in life. That's how you solve these issues. That's just everyday, you know, treat other people, even though you might have responsibilities that's broader and whatnot, you don't lose touch of the base. And that's what every strong, potent leader, because if you are a leader for 90 years, either you're incredibly wicked, and chances are, like Ramses II, you know what I'm saying? Something tells me that he was on the right side of the people, and the people, you know what I'm saying? Like he had his regents, you know what I'm saying? And when everyone's able to do their business and prosper, you know what I'm saying? You just give assent to stuff. Like, I see you. I mean, hell, it's like when I'm thinking about like England, when England expanded all around the world, the kings and queens of England did not sit here and micromanage all that. They just gave assent to what the business that was going on in general and let the people do that. You know what I'm saying? Like when England conquered fucking India, that the king didn't know what was going on all the time. The people on the ground was trying to just do that, just to figure out what they were going to do because they thought they could get a whole India. The king, some of the court might have known, but you know what I'm saying? That was all the way around the world. Like there's a lot of like independence. That's how a good leader, because a good leader is just trying to be comfortable and just like oversee stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? And if he got to lay his thumb down on something, he's going to lay his thumb down on something. But there's other people out in the world that's going to do what they want to do because you want to make sure that there's prosperity. You can't do everything by yourself. I mean, you can have an army, but that only works for so long. Generally, you can be the benevolent, more or less, you know, practical leader and actually have administration that does everything. I mean, we black people have done this. It's historically, done. Then you have, I'm saying, the bad periods when people get corrupt. They want a little bit more now instead of just, spreading out. They get greedy. And then, I'm saying, someone's like, no, I can't have this today. You got to go today. There's a skirmish. There's a new leader. You know what I'm saying? That, cut off the whole line of succession for 300 years or so. New leader today. And, we're going to keep a lot of this stuff until further notice. I'm going to keep on doing this. And that's how it goes until I have a son or I'm kicked out. I don't know. There's no perfect way about power. When you're in power, you're human too. But like Oni said, you'll give up too much power to your you know what I'm saying, to your people around you, and they'll overcut you. It's a bit of just cautiousness about it. I mean, you have to do the right thing for the most amount of people, and of course yourself too. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So, and your orders when to use the bathroom tomorrow morning will be down by the time you wake up, RPG. So don't worry. But no, I appreciate. No, I'm joking. I appreciate you for coming through, and I thank you for everything you had to say. And Oni, before you go in, right, I want to ask you two questions, right. First of all, me and Bakari argued about Shaka Zulu, right. I was like, yeah, he was a great leader. He did great things. But in some cases, he was tripping, and Bakari makes excuses for certain things that may or may not cross the line. Do you agree with me about Shaka Zulu, and would you get down and lay down for him? And also, would Mansa Musa roll up and Islam is the way, it's just going to protect you from the Christian colonizers that's about to whip you up? You know what I'm saying? Is you going to get down and lay down? And is that okay, or would you try to escape it, or you just like, it's just a dictator, and then go in?
I think both of them, are interesting. For the latter one, it reminds me of, lynch mob. Lynch mob shows up and says, "Look, you got to do so and so forth. You either lay down, or you either get down and lay down. It's up to you what you're going to do in the face of a lynch mob." But a lot of people say, "Okay, sure." Even I can even say when gang members, because I'm in Brooklyn, right? When gang members approach you and say, "Hey, I want you to do so and so forth," you could either do what they ask or not. A lot of times, and that's what I say. A lot of us are, we're controlled by consequences. We're controlled by violence, generally, but we're controlled by consequences, and so. A lot of times, if somebody comes to you with a certain consequence, if it's as dire as necessary, then it's up to you. So classic example. I like the money in my pocket. I like the money in my wallet, obviously. But somebody shows up and says, "Hey, look, I got a gun to your chest." They have a gun to my chest, and they say, "I want the money in your pocket." I might say no, or I might say yes. It really depends on how I'm feeling at the moment. So I can't say one way or the other. So if you're saying, "Hey, Shaka Zulu," oh yeah, you say Mansa Musa, has gun to my chest and says, "You gotta go to Allah." Look, I don't know. Like one of the things I like about, I like my father, obviously. But one of the things I like about my father was apparently when he was younger, Jamaica was wild. Okay, yeah, I know, I'm tender, right? Anyway, but Jamaica was wild in the sense of America had this kind of influence. I say it this way. Basically, he says one of the political parties was a little more democratic, and one of the little political parties was a little more socialist. And the Jamaicans would kill each other over them, literally kill each other over them, because whoever was in power in those situations would hand out money. You know what I mean? Would hand out money and provide for the community. And if your party wasn't in power, you could starve pretty much, right? It was bad. But I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, one of them is more capitalist and democratic, the other one's more socialist and whatever. It sounds like Cold War, like a proxy war for the Cold War. Now, some Jamaicans will say, no, it's not a proxy war for the Cold War, but it sounded like it from what my father was saying, right? Either way, he says, I don't remember what party he was on, but he says some dudes were telling him at gunpoint, renounce your political affiliation or else we're going to shoot you. And he didn't renounce his political affiliation. So it might be that if I were in a situation where somebody says renounce your political affiliation, renounce your this, blah, 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 and they're holding me at gunpoint, I might think back to my father and say, no, you know what, I'm gonna stick to my thing. And obviously my father survived, obviously. This was in Jamaica, and he, I was born in America, so obviously he survived. But and he's still alive, obviously. But my point is that I don't know what I would do. Maybe sometimes I think back and say, man, if my dad had got killed at that moment for some stupid ass political party, I wouldn't even be alive. Seems kind of stupid, but it is what it is.
You'd be like, how do I lie?
I mean, look, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, sometimes, like, I gotta go home to my kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, if it's like, if it would be a real, because again, but you gotta remember this, that this happens with regard to lynch mobs. Like, there was a situation in Nigeria where some girl, I guess she said something bad about Allah or Muhammad or something. I don't know, Christian lady. They stoned her to death. No dictator did it. They stoned her to death. A bunch of people just got her, and this is a woman. And they put it on video, and somebody even recorded themselves saying, "Look, I'm eating parts of her flesh." So it's like,
I think I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know if, like, I'm not going to say, hey, if the majority, like, if the rule of the majority, I'm not going to say that's necessarily going to be good, because you could really get into a situation like, for instance, Nigeria right now. It's not the big guys on the top that's doing the lot of violence, a lot of terrorism, but there's a lot of violence and a lot of terrorism in Nigeria. A lot of people taking it into their own hands to do evil shit to people. Or even if you say, hey, look, let's go to northern Nigeria. Northern Nigeria is majority Fulani, majority ignorant, and they have a bunch of terrorists, a bunch of Muslims, if you will, terrorizing Christians and so on and so forth. And Nigerian Christians. And again, I'm not saying Nigerian Christian is a good thing. I'm not saying Nigerian Muslim is a good thing, or Nigerian Muslim is a bad thing, or Nigerian Muslim or Christian Muslim is a good, whatever. Nigerian Christian is a good bad thing or a good thing. But what I'm saying is that a lot of people are doing, are taking it into their hands. And I think that there's like an idyllic situation where we say to ourselves, hey, well, what if the majority, what if the majority? And it's like that's not something that really works in the real world, right? Or like a classic example is Haiti right now. Haiti has a lot of violence, a lot of terror, a lot of things going bad in its capital, and there's no real response retaliation. Now some of the Haitians did get together and try to fight back against the gangs, but for a long while, there was nothing. Like, the gangs could do anything, and even as far as forcing a man at gunpoint, if you will, to sexually assault one of his relatives, like his mother or something. People can do weird sadistic things when they have power and control, and so you do say to yourself, is it so bad if the person who was the leadership wasn't, like, couldn't be bought one, and also had some sort of, functioning good black ideology? Is it much worse than majority rule? Is it much worse than anarchy? But as far as Shaka Zulu, I don't know. I mean, again, last time I read about him, I kind of got the impression he was a little bit on the psychopathic side. But
He was tripping, bro.
I'm saying, like, that's what I thought he was a psychopath. But I mean, I haven't really read him like in 10 years. So, my opinions, 10 years ago were a little bit different. Like, generally in everything. So I don't know. But yeah, I last time I did think that he was on a little bit, I think he was like, you can't have sex unless you kill somebody, on a battlefield, which is cool. But
Yeah,
like, I
I
don't know
don't
about.
mind that part. It's just the other parts.
You don't
He
mind that
was.
part, man? Nah, I need to give me some. I need to give me some punani. All right, they don't call me passport bro for nothing. No, I'm joking. Um, but yeah, like, is he? I mean, but yeah, I mean, but again, when you're talking about Shaka Zulu, you're talking about a man who can, who can gut you like a fish. Like, this is one of the men who introduced killing and warfare. You know what I'm saying?
like in Africa. You know what I mean? He's one of those guys that you can't like his military was very disciplined. So like they were on a different level. They were they were very like they were almost on the genocidal tip, you know, if not the genocidal tip. So you know, like I said, it's up to you whether you listen to the gang leader or not. You know what I mean? It's up to you, but you know, usually, and we know this for Black people generally, we do listen to the gang leader. You know what I mean? We do listen to the gang leader. So um, you know, and that's like something that we know. Like I said, if I go to, you know, the local hood here, you know, Brownsville or something like that, right? If I go to Brownsville, or when I last time I went there because I was putting up flyers and stuff, right? Um, yeah, people were like kids were in their employment. You know, kids were in their employment, and kids were like watching out to see who can, who's in their area, what, and they're reporting back to a gang leader. So things usually fall back into uh, what people call monarchies, what people call I call it oligarchy, but things usually fall back into oligarchies regardless. So even if we have this sort of sentiment, hey, um, like all of us should have an opinion, all of us care. Yeah, at the end of the day, like realistically, everybody kind of falls back into, well, who controls the most violence? you know and in the hood it might be the the gang leader, or it might be the police, you know and then higher up it's going to be the government, um that controls most of the violence. And we could say, hey, no, I want power to the people, but it's just never going to be like it's just as good an idea as it may sound, or it's not even sound like a good idea, but the reality is that humans have never organized that way. We are, unfortunately, or not unfortunately, but we are, I would say, intrinsically a hierarchical people. you know we are born into hierarchies. Our mother and father are above us, and then as we go through life, we are introduced to greater and greater hierarchies, and then we find our way somewhere in that hierarchy. There's no um like, we're not born into democracies, we're born beneath our parents, and then and our parents are beneath other people, for the most part, unless we're the pharaoh's child, which none of us are. And that's it. Oh, but yeah, but thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah,
And appreciation to both you
the
brothers.
live, not the show. The live, bro.
Oh, it says you're in the show, but all right.
No, not the show. The live,
All right, bad. The live. I appreciate you
Yeah,
for the live, man.
it's not even a show. Like, what you do is not a show. It's for real. You know what I'm saying? You do lives, broadcasts, or that's what I just don't, because it's just a personal thing.
Oh,
But
my fault.
no, it's not true. I'm just messing with you for real. But I do mean that. But I'm just still messing with you. And I would say this: I appreciate y'all for coming on here. And as dictator, I will send y'all itineraries about what to do tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? What time to use the bathroom and all of that stuff. But as
Appreciate it,
benevolent,
man.
as your benevolent dictator, the first thing I'm going to do is be like, after my death, not until I die though, but after my death, there will be no more dictators, and that's the benevolency that I leave to y'all. You know what I'm
Okay, George Washington.
saying? And so, but yeah, we could definitely have this conversation again. I appreciate RBG. I appreciate it only because, like, I remember we had a whole live about it. And Matron agrees with you. I don't know if she's still listening, but I don't know why she's agrees with you, but I think I can convert her to understand that that's not the way. You know what I'm saying? Then you asking for trouble. So, like, I don't know, maybe hopefully she can come on next time. But no, it was definitely. I appreciate the definitely conversation, and I'll leave it there. You know what I'm saying? I won't say nothing, just cause But I appreciate both of y'all's perspectives. I appreciate y'all for coming on here. Y'all didn't run, and y'all had reasonable objections. Y'all was wrong. You know what I'm saying? Y'all didn't prove me wrong at all. You know what I'm saying? But y'all didn't run like the rest of them did, because they run from me. Bawana ran, Hardcore ran, First Rifleman ran, Bakari ran, all of them ran, you know what I'm saying? Matron didn't run, but you know, is she gonna be converted, you know? But let me stop, man. So anyway, have intention on anything that you do, you know what I'm saying? No matter how you take it, no matter how you feel like it's the right way, just have intentions on what you're doing, and intentions to be the best and, you know, represent us as the people. So shouts out to Oni, shouts out to RBG, shouts out to Raw, shouts out to Matron, shouts out to Erica, shouts out Bakari, Bawana, Koku, my brother Anthony in the building. Shouts out to him. Shouts out to Realm in the Bush. Oh yeah, me and Cassandra coming on here tomorrow. We're gonna talk about something more positive about you know, business and stuff like that. So y'all do that. Shouts out to Hardcore who in the building, you know what I'm saying? Who came in the building. But shouts out to everybody who came in. And I'm gonna let like this last minute or so to leave some positive wisdom or something like that. Have Amos Wilson have the last minute, y'all. The last minute or so.
One of the reasons why I talk against so-called equal education is the fact that education is the result, to a great extent, of what the student brings to the educational process. That it is the result of the intentionality of the student. That it is intentionality that makes the difference in what you get from education, not what is stated in the classroom. You see, so that a Black student and a white student sitting in the same classroom,
Yeah, man. So exactly, man. Have the right intentions, go the right way, you know what I'm saying? But as always, man, we have got to start standing for something, or we're gonna keep falling for anything.